This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Colorado football coach Deion Sanders confirmed today two-way star Travis Hunter is out at least through Saturday's game against Oregon because of a lacerated liver. The recent death threats against Colorado State's Henry Blackburn for his illegal hit on Hunter condemned today by Sanders.
Henry Blackburn is a good player who played a phenomenal game. He made a tremendous hit on Travis on the sideline. You could call it dirty. You could call it he was just playing the game of football. He does not deserve a death threat over a game.
Colorado coach Deion Sanders. Giants not yet ruling out running back Saquon Barkley Thursday night despite an ankle injury. Coach Brian Daboll said Barkley's feeling better. He's made progress. Will be a game-time decision against the Niners. Recent reports had Barkley expected to miss 3 weeks. Browns running back Nick Chubb will have season-ending surgery on his injured knee. Jerome Ford is now Cleveland's featured back. The Browns do plan on working on adding another player to the running back room. Panthers linebacker Shaq Thompson had surgery on a fractured fibula. He'll miss the remainder of the season.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Yusu. And Mr. Toby Tumplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Evan Cohen of ESPN Radio, their new national morning show. He's here next hour. Sean Salisbury in hour 3. The Saints win on Monday Night Football. Let us begin how we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Well, you better know where we're starting today. The Hoodats go up to Charlotte, a divisional game against the Panthers and a rookie quarterback, and that dominant defense did exactly what you would expect they did as the Saints moved to 2-0. Here was Derek Carr.
Every win matters. We'll see at the end of this thing. We'll see. They all matter. And so, especially a division opponent, NFC opponent, getting that win is huge, for us. And that's why we play the game, is to win. So however this thing looks at the end, hopefully it'll be cleaner. Hopefully it'll be better on my part and on our part. But we're all in here just to win, and hopefully we can continue to do that.
There is one undeniable, unequivocal truth when it comes to the NFL, and that is style points don't matter. It don't matter how it looks. The only thing that matters is the win, and it is so hard to win in the NFL that you never, ever, ever, ever make apologies for how you win in the NFL, because when the season comes to an end, there will be 7 teams from the AFC and 7 teams from the NFC that make the playoffs and have an opportunity to go try to win and get to a Super Bowl and win a championship. You can't win the championship if you don't make the playoffs. The surest way to make the playoffs is win your division. And the Saints right now are 2-0, and they're 1-0 in the division, and they've kept pace with Atlanta and Tampa with a game at home against Tampa coming up in 2 weeks. So you better know that coming off a Monday Night Football win in Charlotte against the Carolina Panthers, moving to 2-0, you better know what I'm thinking today. I'm thinking it is time that we get on the train back to the black and gold Super Bowl. Crank it up, you. Black and gold Super Bowl. Oh, yes. Black and gold. Oh, I'm fired up today. Did you see Tony Jones Jr. running for tuds? Did you see that Saints defensive line wrecking stuff? Did you see Chris Olave making one-handed catches, tipping it back to himself and all that good stuff? Did you see Blake Grupe still perfect 2 games into the season? My goodness, I am fired up for this. You are 2-0 right now, and you're heading to the black and gold Super Bowl. I'm feeling this today.
Okay, but
I'm feeling it today.
No, but Derek Carr threw a hideous interception into triple coverage off his back foot, and Matt and Derek Carr through 2 weeks. He's got 1 touchdown pass and 2 interceptions. That's not the ratio you're looking for. That's not sustainable.
You know what, Muse? You're right. Throwing an interception ill-advised into triple coverage, missing a wide-open Chris Olave on an out route that would have put you in field goal range.
That happened too.
Not a good look. But, Muse, in spite of that, the Saints are 2-0. Crank it up, Muse. Yeah! You got tickets yet? You got tickets for Vegas?
I don't have tickets for that.
Super Bowl's in Vegas. We're going. I'm going. Black and gold Super Bowl. What, Paulie? Don't you crush my vibe here, too.
Did you see the offensive line?
Of course I saw the offensive line. It's impossible to miss them. There's just giant holes running right through them. Of course I saw them.
They were terrible.
Yes.
They let the Panthers sack Derek Carr 4 times.
Yeah, saw that.
He was sacked 4 times against Tennessee.
Yeah, saw that.
Trevor Penning can't block anybody.
It's a lot of sacks.
And it wasn't just Trevor Penning.
No, it wasn't.
James Hurst.
Yeah.
Ruiz.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah. You know what, Paulie? You're right. That offensive line is a sieve. They can't block anybody. I saw even when they left Adam Prentice in, the fullback in to pass protect, who did in fact help on the edge, a linebacker who was giving up about 100 pounds to Cesar Ruiz, bull rush Cesar Ruiz, and sacked Derek Carr. I saw it. And you know what, Paulie? In spite of that miserable offensive line you just mentioned, the New Orleans Saints are still 2-0. Hanging up, yes! I like where that drum hits.
That's all well and good, but
where did my oh, there it is. Give me them whistles.
A little faith there.
Give me them whistles. What, faith in you?
If you're not going to have faith in me.
You haven't earned that, friend.
Matt, the Saints were running the ball down Carolina's throat last night.
How awesome was that?
Running it down their throat.
How about it, Muse? Our 3rd or 4th or 5th running back, whatever it is, Tony Jones, they got him off the street. He scored 2 times.
And then late in the game on 3rd down, Pete Carmichael calls a shotgun pass behind that offensive line that Paulie just talked about. Yeah. And we could really go through a bunch of calls throughout this week and last week. Matt, Pete Carmichael stinks.
Yeah, he does. Pete Carmichael stinks. I mean, your offensive line is atrocious. 3rd and 2. You're running it right up their donkey. Here comes Taysom. They know it. Can't stop it. 3rd and 2. What do? Shotgun. 5-step drop. Oh, sack. Stunner. Yep. And Muse, in spite of that, awful play calling by Pete Carmichael. The Saints are still 2-0. Hang it up.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah, Paulie. What's up? You again?
Paulie,
I've seen your truck outside.
Yeah.
You have a giant fleur-de-lis, Saints fleur-de-lis on the back glass of your truck. Don't tell me you ain't feeling 2-0 today, Paulie.
I'm feeling 2-0, but you forgot to mention that Jamal Williams got hurt.
I saw that.
Tony Jones is the 4th-string running back. He just got called up from the practice squad the day before.
Yeah.
Your leading rusher is Taysom Hill, who's not even a running back.
Kendre Miller didn't play still. Kamara's still out for another week. And in spite of all that, the Saints are still 2-0.
All right, Matt, then what do you say about the red zone rows?
I say that the Saints are still 2-0.
Because those are huge. They've scored 3 touchdowns and 8 trips in the red zone so far this season. They haven't scored a touchdown in the first half of a football game yet.
That's true.
You got Derek Carr missing the passes. They're throwing interceptions. They're turning the ball over and stonewalled. They're bad in the red zone.
If only they had 2 6'7" former basketball players that play tight end that could go up and get jump balls in the red zone.
They do, and they don't throw the ball to them in the red zone.
Well, imagine what will happen, dear Muse, when they do figure that out, and even in spite of that, they are still 2-0.
Oh, wait, Matt. You mentioned special teams.
One hand on you. One hand on the Cabbage Patch. Yeah, Paulie. Special teams. Blake Groupie has not missed a kick through 2 weeks. You think they made the right decision? I think they did.
Yeah, but you forgot about Lou Headley.
Oh, the tatted up Aussie who kicked the ball like 6 yards?
Yeah, he had like 2 punts for like 15 yards.
Oh, man, that was bad. Set up their first field goal. That little Shankopotamus set up their first field goal, didn't it? Yeah, it did, didn't it? What's Blake, what's his name? Gillikin. What's he doing? He's still available? Maybe Blake Gillikin wants to come back and punt for a team that's doing nothing. I love you. That was in an opportune time.
Yeah.
That was really an opportune. You know what? Anything else from the peanut gallery over here? Anything else you'd like to throw out?
The prevent defense last night
stunk. Paulie, anything else over there? You want to complain about Dennis Allen? I'm getting texts from Terrio during the game saying that Dennis Allen needs to wear a bra on the sideline. He's a solid B cup. Anything else you'd like to complain about? Paulie, anything?
No.
You got it all out? Okay. Muse, anything else over there?
I'm good now.
You good?
A lot of stuff, though.
No, you're right. It is a lot of stuff. Lots of stuff. And you know what I'd like to point out, Muse and Paulie, dear friends? There are 32 teams in the NFL, 32 of them. Did you know that?
I did.
You know how many are undefeated after 2 weeks?
I do.
Shut up, Muse. You're supposed to say no, you moron. Play along.
How many?
9, Paulie. Thank you. Thank you, Paulie. Muse.
Fumble.
Just dropped my pen. 9. Let me ask you a question. Would you rather be the Saints or the 1-1 Jags?
I'd rather be the
Saints or the 1-1 Packers, the Saints or the 1-1 Raiders, the Saints or the 1-1 Steelers, the Saints or the 1-1 Jets, the Saints or the 1-1 Kansas City Chiefs. Bills, Colts, Rams, Titans, Seahawks, Browns, Giants, Lions, Patriots, Vikings, Chargers, Panthers, Texans, Bengals, Cardinals, Bears, Broncos, all have a worse stead today on this Tuesday than your 2-0. First time 2-0 since 2013, a decade 2-0. New Orleans Saints. It's time to go to the Black and Gold Super Bowl. Crank it up one more time, Hughes. I'm feeling it today, man. You want to know why I'm feeling it?
Why?
Because the Saints are 2-0, man. And because I would so much rather learn lessons and have to improve upon things going wrong after wins. And that's where the Saints are today. 2-0. Saints beat the Panthers 2017. We'll dissect it all throughout the day. Glad to have you aboard with us here. Our show open every day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy, the official beer of the 2-0 New Orleans Saints. Thank you very much. I'll see you at the Fleur de Lis cans. Check that out right there. Look at that. Beautiful, isn't it? The Fleur de Lis can. You can find it at great local retailers. Go get you a Bud Light Fleur de Lis can. They got the LSU aluminum bottles as well. Gorgeous design on those, the purple bottles. Great for tailgating. Make sure, whether it's the Tigers, the Saints, the Jags, drink easy this football season with Bud Light, our great friends over at Mockler Beverage. It's After Further Review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Our Monday show. It's not Monday. It ain't Monday. It's not. It's Tuesday. It's what today is. We're brought to you by Shaw Bills. Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. Was chatting last week with my buddy Martin over at Shaw Bills. Man, I always love being able to tell you about Shaw Bills. I've had that privilege for almost a decade now, telling people about Shaw Bills. Great local business, been around for more than 50 years. They'll sell you name brand tires at wholesale prices, and that's their promise, is that when you buy tires at Shaw Bills, they're going to treat you like family. And because they treat you like family, you're going to keep coming back year after year after year. When you buy tires at Shaw Bills, you get the Charlie's Dozen, a dozen benefits extended to you and every vehicle in your family when you buy your tires at Shaw Bills. Name brand tires at wholesale prices. And, of course, bumper-to-bumper auto service, it's Shaw Bills. ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, where we keep you rolling. Okay, it's After Further Review. Glad you're hanging out with us here. We got a lot to get to today. We will go through Saints-Panthers. We'll unpack a lot of it. And Evan Cohen will be with us 1 hour from right now. If you haven't heard yet, there's a new national morning show on ESPN Radio. Of course, all of our radio audience are great affiliates. ESPN New Orleans, Alexandria, Lafayette, Lake Charles. Unsportsmanlike with Evan Cohen, Michelle Smallman, and Chris Canty. And I'm going to tell you, I really like the energy of that show. They're doing a really, really good job. So Evan Cohen with us 1 hour from right now. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back, and I do want to talk a little bit about the Greg Brooks situation, as it looks like LSU is going to be without their senior safety not only this week, but maybe for quite a while. So we'll get to that when we come back at AFR.
AFR.
Life in Louisiana is like a run-on sentence. A poem that doesn't rhyme. Life is here, now. For life's moments, big and small, always there. The right card, the right care.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade, time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me, like cypress stumps, your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us. After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
I'm glad you're rolling along with us here. Love Tuesdays, man. Tuesdays are great here in studio. Got all the green for all the sunshine. Of course, we appreciate our friends over at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. And they keep just banging out new NIL deals as well. I love it. Harold Perkins, Will Campbell, Embry Jones, Jay Bramblett. So make sure you're following our friends at Sunshine on social. See all the videos they're doing there. Really, really great partnership. And I'm thrilled to be able to represent our friends at Sunshine every single day right here or every Tuesday here on AFR. Well, you probably saw this. You probably saw this over the weekend. We learned on Saturday that LSU was going to be without Greg Brooks against Mississippi State. And then after the game on Saturday, as LSU was kind of publishing a lot of their social media, the pictures and the videos and all from the weekend, they showed a locker room video, and we'll play it for you here. It's Brian Kelly, just to set it up for you here. It starts with Brian Kelly pregame, talking about Greg Brooks, and then it cuts to a postgame locker room video where Brian Kelly's awarding Greg Brooks the game ball. Here, if you missed it, if you're watching, you'll see it. If you're listening, you'll hear it. It'll make sense. Here you go.
So show him what kind of team we have. Show him how we fight, how we play. Show him what kind of football team we have. Look, Greg Brooks, the game.
So at the end there, they're all yelling 3 and holding up 3 fingers for Greg Brooks, obviously, number 3. So, sometimes when a player is absent and there's no extensive description or explanation for why that player is absent, sometimes you wonder, well, is it injury? Is it some off-the-field issue, whatever it may be? And a lot of times coaches just don't disclose those things. But it's pretty clear that when you see that, right, Brian Kelly getting his team to rally around Greg Brooks and then awarding him the game ball afterwards, that it's certainly nothing nefarious. I think we can all draw that conclusion. And then on Monday, we heard Brian Kelly say this about Greg Brooks.
Greg Brooks is out. Again, I don't have a lot that I can report on Greg. It is a family matter, so I am not going to speak on the family's behalf. If there's anything that I can get to you further after I speak with the family, we'll certainly give you information. But Greg is dealing with a medical emergency, and he will not be available.
So medical emergency, not available. When you hear medical emergency, that certainly speaks to the severity. And then Sam Pittman, of course, who coached Greg Brooks at Arkansas. Brooks is from Louisiana, who spent his first 3 years at Arkansas, and now last year and this year at LSU. Sam Pittman spoke at his weekly presser. He opened it by mentioning Greg Brooks.
I'm not positive what is going on with him. They talked about a medical emergency. Greg was a wonderful kid when he was here and did a great job for us. And whatever it may be, I want him and his family and LSU to know that we're concerned, we're praying for him, and we hope that he has whatever it may be a speedy recovery.
And Sam Pittman, the little bit that I know Sam Pittman, you're having him on this show and getting to sort of interact a little bit like at SEC Media Days, just always strikes you as just a very genuinely good man, not let alone coach, whatever, just a good human being. So I have no doubt that comes from the most sincerest place possible. There's a couple of things about this story, and whenever we talk about things like this, there's always the sort of the two angles that you have to take. One is like the very real life part of it, and then there's the football part of it. And so the way I often describe this is, we have to kind of separate the two, where we all acknowledge very clearly that what's going on with Greg Brooks vastly supersedes anything related to football, and we want Greg Brooks to be healthy and to be safe and to recover and whatever is ailing him. And then there's also the football component of this. So I kind of want to talk about the football component, but I first want to say, like, with respect to the situation with Greg Brooks, I'm not very comfortable going into great detail. I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on what's happening, but for the same reason that Brian Kelly isn't comfortable coming forth and saying anything without the family doing that, I'm going to say the same. What I will say is I think you have to proceed this year as if you're not going to have Greg Brooks again for the rest of the season. And if at some point you get amazing news and his recovery goes just in spectacular fashion and you get him back, awesome. That would be a great thing for Greg and for the football team, obviously, but it would mean he's in a much healthier spot. But I think it's safe to say right now that if you're LSU, you have to proceed with the assumption you are not going to have Greg Brooks again this year. And some of what has been expressed to me is even more concerning than that. To say there's a real question as to whether he will be able to play ever again. So I sincerely hope that's not the case. And again, I'm trying to be very delicate because I don't want to speak out of turn here, and I don't want to go into any detail. But what I will remind you of is during fall camp, Greg Brooks did miss time with what was described then as bouts of vertigo. And when that's happening, you're talking about things that are neurological in nature. And there are very likely some commonalities with what was happening in fall camp causing that vertigo and what's led to this medical emergency here. And it's very real. So the most important part is to keep Greg in your prayers and for him and his family and the doctors and his recovery and all that stuff, because football is so ancillary and not even important when you're talking about something of this nature and seriousness. So would certainly hope and pray for Greg's safety and the absolute best outcome for him personally, athletically, just everything. So that's the very real life part of it. And as I often say, okay, now let's put that in a box, acknowledge it's there, put it on the shelf, acknowledge that it's there, and have a very separate conversation, which is if you're LSU football now, you have to proceed with a defense that your glaring weakness is your secondary. I think we'd all acknowledge that, yes. And by a mile, your best defensive back is Greg Brooks. He's your best guy. I'm not telling you he's your most physically gifted guy. He's a little undersized, and he's better served as a nickel than as a safety. But this is a guy that in his career now has played in 50 games with 45 starts. He can play nickel, he can play dime, he can play free, he can play strong, he can play box and help with the run. Greg Brooks is your best defensive back in a secondary that wasn't very good the first 2 weeks, and now you don't have the guy that was your best player. So how do you manage that going forward? Brian Kelly on Monday did allude to the fact that they feel like now they have more than 11. And what he was sort of saying is that he and Matt House have had to sort of trust some other guys to create rotations. And you saw that a lot against Mississippi State. And as a matter of fact, he talked about having, growing trust in some of the young players on defense.
Whit Weeks, we knew what we had. We had a young player, certainly a true freshman, but he can run all over the field. He's extremely athletic. I think you get a little concerned when you play a lot of true freshmen, certainly in the back end of your defense. Ryan Yates came in and played really well. He was clean. He was disciplined in his alignments. He was assignment correct. But, you got 3 true freshmen on the field. On the road in the SEC, I don't think you're running around going, oh, this is great. But we have confidence in them that they could go out and play well.
One more, and he's right. You were playing a lot of true freshmen running out there. And at some point throughout the year, those guys don't play like freshmen anymore. But they wouldn't be on the field if they weren't your best option now. And the combination that you saw on Saturday against Mississippi State looked pretty good. And look, there's another part of this, which is recruiting and what it means on the recruiting trail when you can show a path to the field for young players.
We're recruiting young men that believe and have confidence in themselves that they can play right away. And certainly there are other factors that they consider now in making decisions on where to go, looking at the depth chart and looking at, well, can this help my, NIL? I mean, there are other factors now involved in that. So what we can tell them, and this is what I tell them all the time, I'm not afraid to play freshmen, but I'm going to play the best players. And if that is a freshman, I'm playing a freshman. If that's a graduate transfer, I'll play a graduate transfer. And I think our track record shows that the best players are going to play. And if you're a freshman and you can handle it mentally and physically, we'll put you on the field.
He mentioned Ryan Yates. And we saw Ryan Yates as a true freshman out there playing an awful lot with Greg Brooks not out there. Not only did we see nickel, 5 defensive backs, we saw a lot of dime against Mississippi State, 6 defensive backs. So where are you getting all these bodies, especially without Greg Brooks? Well, we saw Andre Sam. Again, when Brian Kelly said we'll play transfers, we'll play true freshmen. Andre Sam has played in 48 career college football games with 41 career starts. Major Burns, who's been at LSU for 3 years after his year at Georgia, but he's had a lot of injuries. So he's now in his 4th year of college football. 17 games played with 13 starts. That number would be much higher, but for his injuries. And I think you're figuring out where Major Burns is really good. He's much better coming downhill in the box, helping with the run, than he is in coverage, whereas Ryan Yates is more advanced in coverage. So what you saw on Saturday is kind of an evolution and development of where you play these guys and who you trust where. So this is a nice blend of a veteran like Andre Sam, a veteran like Major Burns, and young guys like Ryan Yates stepping in. I'll remind you, you still got Sage Ryan, who they've played at nickel. They've tried to play it free. They've played it outside corner. He's a really physically gifted guy, but finding his home is kind of the key right now. But you've got Andre Sam, you've got Major Burns, you've got Sage Ryan, and then you have this glut of young players. We saw Ryan Yates. We saw Javian Toviano get on the field. Remember, Javian Toviano, before the season started, was on the Sean Alexander Award watch list, which goes to the best true freshman in college football. And that's a guy who Brian Kelly said, look, there may be a point where we redshirt him because we're not going to put him on the field if he's not ready. Out of necessity, you may have to put him on the field now because of the situation with Greg Brooks. And then there's Jordan Allen as well. There was a point in fall camp where Jordan Allen bumped up and was running with the 2s. So that's a second-year guy who may, out of necessity, be pushed onto the field. When they're out there, then it's just a matter of making plays. And sometimes it's premature from what you'd like, but the situation necessitates it. I know I've shared this with you before, but it's the Greedy Williams story. Greedy was not good enough to get on the field as a true freshman. He redshirted at a time when nobody at LSU was redshirting because the whole mentality was 3 years into the league, and especially at DBU. So he redshirts in 2016. In 2017, you have an injury, you have a suspension to Christian Fulton, and just like that, you're opening up in New Orleans against BYU, and Greedy's got to start. He gets an interception in the opener. He had an interception like the first 3 games, was an All-American, never left the field. So sometimes it's just that opportunity has to come, and you have to go fly around on the field and make plays when that opportunity comes. And for some of these younger guys, that opportunity is now. And unfortunately, it's in a secondary where you're still finding your sea legs and what your best position groups are. But if there is something that should give you solace with this LSU secondary, it's look at what's happened with the linebacker core in a relatively short amount of time. That's Matt House's position group. But whereas week 1, you were starting Omar Spates and Harold Perkins at off-ball linebacker, and you very quickly had to adjust. And now we know, Brian Kelly said it, Greg Penn is your centerpiece, and the rotations will come off of Greg Penn. And so you have Penn, and you'll have Spates, and you love Whit Weeks, obviously. You have West Weeks there as well, a freshman, and Christian Braithwaite that allows you to freelance with Harold Perkins. You figured it out. And I trust this coaching staff to do the same in the secondary to get their best 4, 5, or 6 defensive backs on the field, given the guys they have. Look, you're playing at LSU for a reason. You got a scholarship to LSU because you're a really good player. So go play really well when you get your opportunity. The best news for LSU, Arkansas, Ole Miss, Missouri, Auburn, Army, all manageable games, all winnable games where you're going to be a big favorite. before your open date and you go to Alabama. And by that time, everyone on this team should be veteran. So our prayers and our concerns, certainly with Greg Brooks. How LSU continues to move forward without him, we're starting to see that manifest. We started to see it this past weekend with good results. That's an evolution that will continue with Arkansas coming to Baton Rouge this weekend. All right, it's after further review. Went a little long. My apologies. Let me knock out a break. We'll come back. We'll go around the SEC. Stay here.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan, injury attorneys. You know, I tell you all the time that you should follow Gordon on social media because he does a great job giving out like free advice, legal advice. And one of the things, the post I saw earlier today is it's National Child Safety Awareness Month for car seats and such. So Gordon has a great post up right now where it's Child Passenger Safety Awareness Week is officially what it is. So Gordon's got a great post up right now where he's on camera and giving you advice about how to protect your children in the car, in their car seats, and then also what some of the legalities are there as well. So again, follow Gordon on all the social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you are, it's at Get Gordon, at Get Gordon. And of course, if you've been injured in an accident, it's not your fault, you need representation, call 888-8888, Get Gordon, and get it done.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on select new 23 Ford F-150 trucks. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there in the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Panthers rush 5. Carr steps up and delivers downfield. Get him a 50-50 ball. What a catch by Olave.
Play of the game. Maybe the play of the weekend. one of the plays of the NFL season that when the season ends and we're looking at all the postseason hype videos and highlight reels, that one-handed catch by Chris Olave, it's the one that really broke the seal offensively for the New Orleans Saints, and one that kind of got him going, one we'll be talking about certainly for a long time. Great play by Chris Olave there. And it was one that Derek Carr needed in particular, one that our dear friend Chad Ochocinco needed. Let's check the standings. So if you're not familiar, before the season started, Ochocinco, when the NFL Twitter account tweeted season stat projections for Derek Carr, Ocho tweeted 38 tuds, 6 picks, 4,700 yards. I called him on it. Went back and forth a little bit on Twitter. And we agreed. It was a gentleman's agreement. So we have a wager. And if Ocho loses, he's agreed to come to Baton Rouge and co-host AFR with me. He'll fly here on his dime and do the show. If I lose, we're going to do a show at Don Juan featuring Ochocinco's 85 brand cigars. I'll buy a bunch of boxes of them too, give them out to everybody. Y'all come hang out. Might do that anyway. But let's check it through 2 weeks. All right. 38 touchdowns was Ochocinco's prediction. Derek Carr's at 1. So not looking great right there. So how are we feeling about this? 1 touchdown. He projected 6 interceptions. Derek Carr's already at 2.
Yeah.
The 4,700 yards, Derek Carr is at 533. So we are certainly far off the pace on touchdowns and yards. And unfortunately for Ocho, we're far off the pace for picks too. We're staring down 17 picks, excuse me, at this rate.
Yeah, the picks, that was always the one that really stood out, right? Like that's going to be the really tough one to get. If you're trying to get 38 touchdowns, I mean, you can't have a week where you don't throw one. And you just had that. I still think he's got a shot at the yards. 533 through 2 weeks, not a bad spot to be.
So to get to 4,700, Carr has to average 276.
Yeah.
He was at 228 last night. I look, there will be obviously better games than this. So he's not trending terribly for that, but he's off pace on all 3 right now. So I don't know, man. If I will ask the odder what the odds would be at this point, but I mean, Scone versus Carr. I mean, I got to be like minus 1,500 at this point, something like that. I mean, I got to be a heavy favorite in this now.
Yeah. Look, I'm gonna leave that to Otter. I mean, minus 1,500 feels a lot, little bit like a lot.
All 3 of those have to hit.
I know.
You don't think Derek Carr, I'm loosely throwing balls into triple coverage, isn't going to throw 4 more picks the rest of the year?
I mean, I didn't say
games?
that. I didn't say that,
bro.
I didn't say that. I said that.
I'll go so far as to say. I'll go
it.
so far as to say at this point, Derek Carr's not hitting any of those.
Okay.
He's not hitting any of them.
Okay.
He's going 0 for 3. Ocho's coming to BR, y'all. And he's going to come too. I believe it. He's a man of his word. He ain't no Dwayne from Thibodeau. Tell me I'm wrong.
I mean, I kind of can't because I mean I believe it too. I think he would. I don't think he would have made the bet if he wouldn't.
All right, brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, online, theantiagingclinics.com, theantiagingclinics.com. Hormone replacement therapy, of course, and all semaglutide. You've heard about it. They've got it. Go for a free consultation at the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, online, theantiagingclinics.com. Again, theantiagingclinics.com. All this month, Pico Way Laser Tattoo Removal, 20% off. The most advanced laser tattoo removal system in the world, virtually pain-free, more effective, so fewer treatments. It's the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online, theantiagingclinics.com. Okay, do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Florida Gators, the Tennessee Volunteers.
Well, the SEC has suspended 3 Florida players and a Tennessee player for the first half of their upcoming game for the fight that ensued at the end of the Florida-Tennessee game on Saturday night. Graham Mertz was trying to run out the clock. A Tennessee player hit him late, and so then the bench is cleared. A fracas broke out. Florida will be without offensive lineman Damian George and Micah Moskua and tight end Dante Zanders for the first half of the game against Charlotte. Tennessee defensive lineman Omar Norman Lott will miss the first half of Saturday's game against UTSA.
The Mississippi State Bulldogs.
Zach Arnett said the Bulldogs have lost their appeal to remove the suspension of starting safety Sean Preston Jr. This is the guy who got the targeting call for the hit on Jaden Daniels. He's going to have to miss the first half of Saturday's game against at South Carolina for the hit on Jaden Daniels. A freshman, Isaac Smith, stepped in when Preston was ejected. He's likely to start in his place.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
Shane Beamer gave an update on several injured Gamecocks. Antoine Wells is out for the Mississippi State game on Saturday. Amarian Brown did not practice on Tuesday. Jatius Greer also listed as questionable for the game along with Brown. Meanwhile, Tyreek Johnson, Beamer said, is good to go against Mississippi State.
The Vanderbilt Commodores.
Clark Lee provided an injury update on several players as well. Defensive tackle Christian James out after dealing with an injury that's held him out the entire season so far. They hope he returns next week against Missouri. Tackle Junior Azuba also questionable with a lower body injury. Clark Lee listed 4 players for this game as questionable. Also, a couple of long-term injuries. Linebacker Prince Colley, a transfer from Notre Dame. He's likely to redshirt this year, as is safety Steven Sanianiola, likely to redshirt because of their injuries. Okay, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. Presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products, the official office equipment provider of the LSU Tigers, the New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, ULL Ragin' Cajuns, and the Baton Rouge Zydeco, the minor league hockey team. Great supporters of the home teams, great supporters of our communities. Baton Rouge, New Orleans, North Shore, Lafayette. If you need office equipment, you need Gulf Coast Office Products. GCOPnet.com, GCOPnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. All right, y'all, it's after further review. Let me knock out our final break here of hour number 1. We'll come back. Have you seen the TV number that Colorado and Colorado State did on Saturday night into Sunday morning? I have a comp. I have the best comp I've come up with so far for the insanity of what Deion Sanders is doing in Boulder right now. I'll share it with you next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery, 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area, and it is fall decorating time, y'all. Erica had me getting the Halloween decoration boxes out of the attic on Sunday. And yes, much of our dining room right now looks like a Halloween party store where a bomb went off. There's just stuff everywhere. But if you want the really good stuff, Clegg's has got you covered. Get by any of their 4 locations. They got pumpkins and hay bales and squash and gourds and just so much great fall decor, fall bedding plants as well. If you want to have that perfect look for your front porch, for your patio, for your indoor or outdoor spaces, Clegg's has the best selection. So get on by and see our friends at any of the 4 Clegg's Nursery locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. And, of course, their partner with True Value Hardware Store. So buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery.
Get 3.99% financing on select 2023 models at Corvell Toyota in Opelousas. And we also have a large selection of pre-owned inventory. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corvell Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Wrapping up hour number 1. Glad you're with us. The TV ratings are in for Colorado State. By the way, did you all watch the game? Did you stay up and watch the whole thing, Colorado State? Be honest.
I was attempting to. I fell asleep.
Paulie?
I stayed up and watched the end. I didn't catch the beginning of it.
Okay, so you were up till 1:30 in the morning. You watched the end. Okay, so did I. Double overtime, all the stuff. The rally was fantastic. 9.3 million viewers. 9.3 million. It's ESPN's 5th most watched game on record. Ever. It is the most watched late prime game ever. ESPN or ABC's 4th best regular season game in 6 years. The most streamed regular season game of college football through ESPN ever, and it peaked at 11.1 million viewers, the average of 9.3 million. Y'all, do you know the average that Pac-12 After Dark on ESPN, do you know what the average viewership is? 1.7 million. Generally between 1 million and 2 million people watch that game. 9.3 million. Y'all, 9.3 million. That would have been a top 5 game in all of college football a year ago. It would have surpassed things like Ohio State, Penn State. It's stunning. This is Colorado against Colorado State. They are making us care about something that the masses genuinely should not care about. There is no reason for you and me sitting here to care about Colorado State, yet 9.3 million people tuned in to watch that well past midnight. I told you I had a comp. The only thing that I can compare what Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, and Colorado are doing, how they have turned something that is generally unwatchable into something that is must-see TV, is what Jeremy Lin did in February of 2011, the Linsanity boom. It's the only thing in my lifetime that I can even think comes close to this. Y'all, the New York Knicks were terrible that year. They were terrible. Jeremy Lin was a journeyman at best guy in his early 20s. He had played for the Reno Bighorns and the Dongguan Leopards, whatever that is. He had been kind of with the Knicks, and they sent him to the G League to play for the Erie Bayhawks, and it was they were going to cut him, and they had some injuries, and so they played him, and there was a 7-game stretch where Jeremy Lin was the best player in the NBA, out of nowhere. A 12-game stretch in February leading up to the All-Star break where the Knicks, who were awful, went 9-3, and Lin was the best. He was averaging 25 and 8 a night. A guy who was going to be cut. Everyone. We were going to Pluckers to find TVs to watch the Knicks. An awful basketball team because of Jeremy Lin in this window. And Deion is doing it now. People who don't even like Colorado or college football are tuning into this because they just have to see this spectacle that is unfolding before us all. It is something the likes of which in college football we have rarely, if ever, seen and may never see again. And you know I am not into hyperbole, but that is just how stunning it is. Like they made miniseries and documentaries and wrote books about Linsanity. They are going to do the same thing about this window of what is happening in Boulder, Colorado. It is absolutely stunning to watch unfold. Hour 2 after SportsCenter.
AFR.
Brought to you by Traction, TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. So, your kiddo wants to go play for Coach Prime. Your kiddo wants to be the next Jeremy Lin. I can't make those promises. But if your son or daughter wants to be the very best in their sports and their sport, you got to go to Traction. TractionSports.com, TractionSports.com. Get to the website. I'll remind you, small group memberships, sports-specific small group training, unlimited sessions for a low monthly fee. You got to look into this. And it doesn't matter if your son's a baseball player, your daughter's a volleyball player. They have like junior tennis players that train at Traction. It's all sports. If you want to maximize your son or daughter's ability to be the very best in their sport, the facility, the equipment, the training, the technology, the knowledge, it is an unmatched resource in our state, in our region, and few like it in the country, and it's right here in Baton Rouge. It's Traction. TractionSports.com.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. Following the shooting death of a teenager at a high school football game, there's a move to pull guns out of the hands of juveniles in West Baton Rouge Parish. Social media is turning out to be a huge resource. District Attorney Tony Clayton says it's where several groups they've identified as gangs are posting their videos, and he believes many of the young people involved are juveniles. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP or 2.9% for 72 months on all new 23 Ram 1500 trucks in stock. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Colorado football coach Deion Sanders today condemned the death threats against Colorado State defensive back Henry Blackburn for his illegal hit that sent Buffalo's two-way star Travis Hunter to the hospital. Sanders said Blackburn was just playing the game of football, should not be receiving death threats. He's a kid. Hunter is out at least for Saturday's game against 10th-ranked Oregon with a lacerated liver. In the wake of the season-ending injury to All-Pro running back Nick Chubb, Jerome Ford, now the Browns' featured running back. Without Chubb, Cleveland's $230 million quarterback Deshaun Watson needs to step up, says ESPN's Herm Edwards.
He's your guy. You're going to have to open it up some, spread him out, let him run some RPOs, let him, create some with his legs, get the ball, obviously, to People Jones, throw the ball with him a little bit more than you would run it. You still have Ford, but I think it has to go through the quarterback now. That's why you brought him there.
Giants running back Saquon Barkley with a sprained ankle will be a game-time decision Thursday night at San Francisco, according to coach Brian Daboll.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. They're close, convenient, and have the parts you need fast, along with excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. ESPN radio host Evan Cohen from Unsportsmanlike, their new national ESPN radio morning show. Evan's with us in 15 minutes from right now. Sean Salisbury next hour. Looking forward to having Sean here. Love to talk quarterback play. And Saints are 2-0. We'll delve into that with Sean, and we'll get some thoughts on what in the world has happened at Mississippi State and how LSU matches up against Arkansas this weekend in Baton Rouge. Of course, we're powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Sunshine, the official tractor of the New Orleans Saints and the official equipment dealer of LSU Athletics. You ain't never heard a country song about a tractor other than a John Deere. You want a John Deere in this state, you get it at Sunshine. From Bunkie and below, Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Do you follow Saints PR on Twitter? I don't know who runs this account. I don't know if it's an official Saints account or if it's something independent. And I really don't care either way. Just it's at Saints PR, and they did tag the Saints and ESPN Stats and Info in this tweet, which you might have seen after the game against Carolina on Monday night. I'll read it to you very quickly. With tonight's victory over Carolina, the Saints defense has now given up 20 or fewer points in 10 straight games for the first time in franchise history. That bests a mark set in 1991 by the Dome Patrol. Anytime you do something that's mentioned in the same category as the Dome Patrol, brother, you in fuego. And right now, this Saints defense is uncanny. 10 straight games allowing 20 points or fewer. That dates back to last year. Now, the Dome Patrol, they did it all in 1991. But this Saints defense, they are far, far from finished, especially when you start to look at what is ahead for this Saints defense. You know, Derek Carr, after the game, mentioned about this Saints defense and how it's one of the reasons he decided to come to New Orleans.
Any team that I talked to was a team with a defense, and I played these guys. I knew DA, I know what it's like and how difficult it is, and all I want to do is win, and so I was like, shoot, if I can go there and have a day like today, didn't play my best in the first half, come back, play good in the second half and win a game. Like, I didn't have to be perfect for 4 quarters, and we won. Like, that is awesome. I don't like that still. We won, but it's still sick because I should have played better. I can help the offense more. I can do, you sit back and I'm already analyzing it, right? But to have that defense to hold us, keep us in there until we got clicking in the second half, it helped us win the football game.
New Orleans shut out Derek Carr and the Raiders a year ago, 24-0. They allowed 183 yards to Derek Carr and the Raiders a year ago. He knew very well, all too well, what he was signing up for when he came here. He knew that he was going to have a great complement in that defense on the other side of the football. My real question for the Saints is, can they continue to hold this together while the offense figures itself out? And one of the things that gives me reason to believe they can is what we've seen from the San Francisco 49ers in the last half decade. Actually, you could probably extend it a bit further than that. But just here in the past several years, we've seen San Francisco continue to win at an elite clip with Jimmy Garoppolo, with Trey Lance, with Brock Purdy. It hasn't really mattered who was under center. They've been able to remain competitive because their defense has been so good. Last year, despite playing 3 different quarterbacks, they were number 1 in the NFL in total defense and number 1 in the NFL in scoring defense. And when your defense is that good, it's going to keep you in every game. And you have to play complementary football on the offensive side. That's what the Niners did. That's what the Saints are trying to do right now until they get this offense really churning. So I'm not going to say, can the Saints hold it together while the offense figures it out? I think the bigger question, the better question is, can the offense figure it out? Like, is there a possibility for growth with this Saints offense right now? And Dennis Allen after the game was asked what the biggest issue is with the passing game right now. Here's what he said.
I didn't think our execution early on in the game was good in terms of guys being in the right spot and doing the right thing every single play. Obviously, that got addressed at halftime, and I thought we were much better in the second half and being able to do that. And I thought we ran the ball better in the second half, which I think opened up some things too.
They absolutely ran the ball better. And that's one thing to be very encouraged about, is the fact that the New Orleans Saints, while the offensive line has had its very sincere struggles, on Monday anyway, against a good defensive front from Carolina, with Derek Brown, with, look, you saw Shy Tuttle have a nice game. Brian Burns, they got a good defensive front, very similar to what you saw a week ago from Tennessee. And the Saints got going. The big difference, obviously, is you really got going behind Taysom Hill. 9 carries for 75 yards. Hello, do more of that. Thank you. But the offensive line has massive draft capital invested in it. You know this. I'm not telling you something you don't know. Your left tackle was a first-round draft pick. Your right tackle was a first-round draft pick. Your right guard was a first-round draft pick. Your center was a second-round draft pick, but he was a top 50 pick, and he was your first pick in that draft. Your left guard is a veteran player who replaced a former first-round draft pick. You have a ton of draft capital invested in that offensive line. It's easy to say you need them to play up to their standard. Maybe they're just not going to be very good. It's hard for me to validate or justify punting on Trevor Penning after 2 games. He was better on Monday Night Football than he was in the opener against Tennessee. And both came with very sincere, legitimate edge rushers coming at him. Let's see how much he can continue to improve. Another reason for optimism. Alvin Kamara returns in week 4. And when your offensive line is struggling to keep Derek Carr upright for developing plays, sometimes the answer is run the football and then short passing game with screens. Well, who's the best running back in the NFL when it comes to executing the screen game? Alvin Kamara. Dude had 81 receptions each of his first 3 years in the NFL. Yes, give me Alvin Kamara back. He is going to aid Derek Carr in getting the ball out quickly and making explosive plays and making defenses respect it. What else can you do? How about red zone play calling? You've moved the football. Do you realize the Saints right now are 29th in the NFL in red zone touchdown percentage? 37.5%. 37%. For context, only Tampa, the Jets, and Houston are worse. Tampa, the Jets with Zach Wilson, and Houston with a rookie quarterback are worse in red zone touchdown percentage right now than the New Orleans Saints. Convert in the red zone, and you take a lot of that pressure off of your defense. I got an idea. Jimmy Graham's on this team for a reason. Jawan Johnson's on this team for a reason. These dudes are 6'5", 6'6". Use them in the red zone. Well, otherwise, why is Jimmy Graham on this team? For context, last year, the Saints, who were not good, were 52% in red zone touchdown percentage. That was 21st in the NFL. As bad as they were a year ago at it, they are dramatically worse right now through 2 weeks than they were last year. So, yeah, there are things they can improve upon. Kamara's going to make you better. Trevor Penning can continue to improve. Your play calling in the red zone can be better. All those things are going to make your offense better and score more points. But right now, the reality is through 2 weeks, you scored 16 points and 20 points. Now, you managed to win both of them because you have an awesome defense. But I'll remind you again of something we said on the show before the season started. And we made a video out of it that went viral. And it went viral for a dumb reason. It went viral because people were all mad at Muse for his quarterback order and how he was picking quarterbacks. But I threw off the cuff, threw a question to Muse, and I said, hey, name the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And he rattled off a dozen names. And the Saints don't play any of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. They don't play Patrick Mahomes. They don't play Josh Allen. They don't play Justin Herbert. They don't play Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson or Dak Prescott or Jalen Hurts or whoever you think is the best quarterback in the NFL. The best quarterbacks New Orleans faces this year, Trevor Lawrence, Kirk Cousins, Danny Dimes, Matt Stafford, that's about it. That's the best you're going to face. You get Bryce Young twice. You get Gardner Minshew or Anthony Richardson, however it's going to go. You're going to play C.J. Stroud. You're going to play Desmond Ridder twice. It works in your favor. You're going to get to go this weekend to Green Bay, albeit on a short week, but you're going to play Jordan Love early in the season. Then you're going to come home and play Baker Mayfield. That's what works in this Saints defense's favor. They're a great defense, and they avoid all of the best quarterbacks in the NFL this year. You're going to tell me your toughest test is Trevor Lawrence in the Dome on a Thursday night? Going out to L.A. to play Matthew Stafford and the Rams in December? A game in mid-November at Minnesota against Kirk Cousins? Sign me up for that. You got to play Jared Goff and the Lions. You get that game at home. Justin Fields at home. It's a lot of reasons to like this Saints team and to think the defense is going to be able to keep it up because of who they play. And it's going to give this offense time to find itself and to be better. I think it's going to happen. All right, it's after further review. Glad you're with us here. We are, let's see, Sean Salisbury, top of next hour. We'll get to Evan Cohen here in a few minutes. We're brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com. 31 offices across 11 different states. I'm excited. In a few weeks, I'm going to head down to NOLA, the Harahan office there. Michelli going to get to see their new calibration lab. Big part of their development in 2022 was expanding square footage and updating and upgrading a lot of their calibration labs. So their Harahan office, the Baton Rouge office, many of them all across not only Louisiana but across the country. Listen, no matter where you are, there's probably a Michelli office near you. And I know a lot of people listen or watch on demand or listen on watch on YouTube and listen via podcast or via stream all over the country. So check out Michelli. ISO 17025 accreditation is available. Dozens of different industries that they service. I always encourage, get to the website to see a list of their services. If you're not satisfied with the service you're getting from your current provider and you need weighing or measurement services, Michelli is the answer. Michelli Weighing and Measurement, Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Okay, it's after further review. Evan Cohen's going to join us next. If you have not yet caught Unsportsmanlike, I would highly recommend it. It's ESPN Radio, of course, rolled out a new national lineup, and Evan Cohen is the lead, along with Michelle Smallman and Chris Canty, weekday mornings on Unsportsmanlike. So check it out if you haven't had a chance to yet. We'll chat with Evan Cohen when we come back. We're glad you're with us here on a Tuesday edition of AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
AFR.
Rouse's is the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com, or you can always download that Rouse's app. I want to remind you, when you go into Rouse's or when you're shopping on the Rouse's app, always, 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 always look for the Rouse's branded products. One of the things that I respect so much about Rouse's is whenever they start to make their Rouse's branded products, everything from soaps to potato chips, they always start with, can we source this locally? Rouse's has been in our community for 100 years. They've been helping you make groceries for 60 years. From Lake Charles to Orange Beach, when they sell you seafood, they always start with, can we get it locally? When they go to make their potato chips, can we get ingredients sourced from right here in Louisiana? It's Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Get to Rouse's.com or download the Rouse's app. Rouse's, this feels like home.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, live at lunch on Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Hello, Samantha, dear, I hope you're feeling fine. And it won't be long until I'm with you all the time. But until then, I spend my money up right down on my last dime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
You probably heard ESPN has a new national morning show. It's Unsportsmanlike with Evan Cohen, Michelle Smallman, and Chris Canty. And Evan Cohen's good enough to join us for a couple of minutes here. How are you, dude?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Man, I'm doing awesome. I told you candidly off air, I've been able to catch some of the new show, and I love the energy, man. It feels like it just feels new, which like a breath of fresh air, which is awesome. But I'm curious for you. You spent about a dozen years at SiriusXM, right? Why did you make the decision to leave something that was so established to start something new at ESPN?
Well, I wasn't going to lose any way you cut it, right? Either I'm at SiriusXM, at Mad Dog Sports Radio with Mike Babchick doing the morning show there in the last couple of years with Willie Colon, or I'm going to ESPN to work with Michelle and Chris, and the opportunity was just too great to pass up, and everybody was on the same page. Sirius and I had a great relationship and have a great relationship, but I mean, this is the preeminent real estate. You know that. I mean, you've had, not to speak on your behalf, but I know I got Schefter and Woj like sources about you, Matt. You've had a million opportunities to go a lot of different places, right? And when you find something that makes sense, as you're on many ESPN stations all across the state of Louisiana, and things are clicking at that level, at that prominent four letters at the ESPN, you got to go for it. Plus, I mean, this opportunity was just so great from a TV, radio, digital perspective. And, you know, I appreciate you saying it sounds energetic and new. The reality is we're doing a radio show. We're talking to sports fans every single day, right? Sports fans love sports. They love food. They love so many different things. How can you not be excited? We have the best job in the world. It's not always the easiest job in the world. People think it's so easy. Oh, I love sports. I could do what Matt does. Well, no, you got to love radio too. But there is an aspect of this that how can you not be having fun doing it each and every day?
That's so true, man. It sounds like you and I are on the same. Like, so much of our profession has just become contentious arguing so much, and like, it's nice to just have fun, and that's something that I think that has come through in the early days of Unsportsmanlike so far. But you're a Boston guy, yeah?
No, I'm from New York originally. Okay. I live in New York. I'm just a front-running Pats fan, which is really not front-running at this point.
I know. Why do they stink?
They don't have the quarterback they used to? Is that an argument that should be made? That's an easy argument?
I mean, I guess, right? But at the same time, I could look at Indy without Peyton Manning. They had their run with Andrew Luck. I mean, you could look at spots where quarterbacks retire and teams do okay. I'm not saying you got to win 6 titles, but, I mean, is it safe to say I expected more out of the Pats?
Yeah. Oh, no, I think that's fair. I also will give you a little bit of a spin, and people in Louisiana may not like this, and I'm not trying to take a shot at Peyton Manning, but like Peyton Manning's level of success with Indy doesn't even compare to Tom Brady's level of success with New England.
Sure.
See, for a while they were neck and neck. They were going back and forth. And ultimately what happened was Tom Brady surpassed him in such a way it wasn't even close that pound for pound his years in Denver may have been more successful than his years in Indy. Now, as an individual player, his years in Indy were better, but team success, there's an argument that actually in those short amount of time in Denver, he was more successful than he was in Indy, at least less of a letdown. And I understand they got blown out, 55-7, something like that, in the Super Bowl against Seattle. But I think that it's easier to move on from Peyton Manning to Andrew Luck than it is from Tom Brady, because I don't think that Peyton Manning and Tom Brady should be in the same sentence. I believe Drew Brees is closer to Peyton Manning than Peyton Manning is to Tom Brady.
Okay, no, I can buy that. And by the way, so Evan, people in Louisiana don't love Peyton Manning. It's a weird thing here because people are jilted that none of the Mannings ever went to LSU. So people don't like, they love Archie because he played for the Saints. But it's weird they don't love Peyton and Eli because they left, and now Arch left as well. So people like there's this weird like contentious relationship, like a love-hate type deal with the Mannings, because they still love Louisiana, right? I mean, they're born and from here, but they left. So there's a little bit of bleep you there. By the way, Evan Cohen.
Wait, so I'm going to ask Matt. Can I ask you a question on this?
Yes, of course.
So if I am to guess, outside looking in, last 30 years, state of Louisiana sports, number one, let's say, is Drew Brees.
Okay.
Who's number two?
Well, so Joe Burrow is going to be at or near the top of that list, of any list. Brees, if you're just talking professional sports, it's weird because the Saints historically have not been very good, but you had this amazing run, right, with Drew Brees and Sean Payton. So are you including college?
Well, okay, so if we include college, it's clearly Burrow, right? That makes sense. But if we don't include college, the second best / most accomplished / popular, loved, eating for free at any restaurant in Louisiana after Brees is who?
It's so weird, but it's gonna be guys that went to LSU and went on to be great. Like if it was Odell or Jarvis when they had their runs. If you're talking about just guys that played in New Orleans, I mean, you've had mega popular. So it's always. It's so interesting in Louisiana, and I say this often because not even just Louisiana, but the southern part of our state is so culturally different than the rest of the state, the rest of the Gulf South. Like you could go into Alabama, and Alabama parts feel like Mississippi and the panhandle of Florida. You come into southern Louisiana, and it's just completely different. And so when people sort of embrace and wrap their arms around this, like around our culture, like you'll get the biggest friggin' lifelong bear hug back. So it's kind of like that. Like Jose Alvarado is one of those dudes that's like a freak cultural sensation. Josh Hart, when he was here with the Pelicans, people loved him. I mean, even after he got traded, he was sitting courtside the next day cheering on his team. Flip side, people hate Anthony Davis because he shunned the city is the way that it's sort of perceived. So it's kind of weird, man. I don't know. Does that even make any sense?
Yeah, but you know what you're doing for me? What you're telling me is you're actually confirming why the smartest thing Drew Brees could have done was never play for another team besides New Orleans after he was done in New Orleans. In other words, coming out of retirement this year to play for the Jets, right? Let's play out that hypothetical. That he is really, truly one of one in terms of professional athletes with a significant amount of time playing professionally in the state of Louisiana and universally loved the way that he's loved, that it would make absolutely no sense to blur that line because nobody remembers the days he plays in the Chargers. Completely irrelevant.
Yeah. No, but you know it's funny.
Obviously, yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I was going to say when you were saying that you say he's a one of one. The only one close historically is Archie to tie this thing all the way around because Archie was here with the Saints, got his ass kicked, but stayed and raised his family in New Orleans and has continued to live here and is a great ambassador for the city and the state as well. So it's
fascinating because the college sports are so big.
Yeah.
From an interest perspective, I would guess 4 sports, right?
Yeah.
Football, men's basketball, women's basketball, and baseball. Not necessarily in that order, but I mean they have 4 dominant sports that at least are shown on ESPN. Let's say. I mean that's pretty unbelievable.
No doubt. Evan Cohen's our guest. He's the host of Unsportsmanlike weekday mornings on ESPN Radio. Of course, you can hear it on all of our great affiliates throughout the state of Louisiana. On Twitter at EvCoRadio. By the way, I can't let you off the hook without knowing this. You're from New York. How in the world did you become a Pats fan?
Oh, no, man, I wasn't kidding. I'm a front runner. Like, I fell in love with Brady and Belichick because I was a Giants. This is pathetic. You're going to rip me for this, and go ahead, please, please do.
No.
No, you should. You should. So I was a Giants fan growing up. I loved Parcells and Belichick, and then they go to the Pats, and ultimately I became a Pats fan with Belichick. Like, I actually am a huge Belichick fan.
Okay.
Even more, I love Brady, but I love management. I love structure. I love the Miami Heat. Like, that's the team that I root for in the NBA. I love studying Greg Popovich. I love studying any kind of coaches and management structure. I'm very weird in that regard. Like, I really appreciate the greatness of the way in which people build things. I'm fascinated by that. Go ahead. Let me have it. Go ahead.
No. How? So then walk me through your emotional state in 2007 and 2011 when your adoptive team, the Patriots, lose in the Super Bowl to the team you shunned.
Yeah, you know what's interesting? And by the way, Tom Coughlin was a guest on our show and on Sportsmanlike on Tuesday.
I heard it.
So, yeah, I mean, like, that's that was tough. But anyway, so the reality is, how about this for a take that I don't think is a hot take, but I'm going to give you something. I think the best coaches almost every sport that are active today simultaneously have the best wins of our lifetime, maybe, and the worst wins of our lifetime. I'll explain.
Okay.
Think about Bill Belichick. 28-3 in the NFL is maybe the best win of our lifetime, right? There may not be an NFL win better than that. There's also not an NFL loss worse than losing 18-0 in the Super Bowl, okay?
Yeah.
The best coach in the NBA you would look at and say is either Steve Kerr, who blew a 3-1 lead, right?
Yes.
To Cleveland. Or Eric Spoelstra, who lost to a Dallas team with Miami that J.J. Barea was posting up LeBron and it worked, or Greg Popovich, who blew a lead against Miami in the finals. Go look in baseball, okay? Now, obviously, he's not active, but Joe Torre in our lifetime has more wins as a World Series manager than anybody else. He also blew a 3-0 lead to the Boston Red Sox.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Are you a Red Sox fan too?
No, Mets. I didn't front run in baseball. I stayed with the Mets.
Yeah, that's perplexing. Why in the world, like, if the one ball and chain, the albatross around your neck you chose to keep was the Mets?
Okay, I'm gonna give you a reason why.
Okay.
My grandfather, may he rest in peace, in the late '60s, early '70s, was working for an advertising agency. He and his business partner had an advertising agency, and they got hired to work for the New York Mets. He forever was a diehard, lifelong Mets fan, and so for that's my connection. That my grandfather loved the Mets, and I was always really close to my grandfather. Now, ironically, my dad is a Yankee fan, so if I'm going to be a front runner, why not go that route? I should have become. I'm now an LSU women's basketball fan, I guess, based on this, right?
Come on. There's room on the bandwagon, brother.
I need my Angel Reese jersey. Let's go.
We can make that happen. Evan Cohen, ESPN Radio, Unsportsmanlike weekday mornings with Michelle Smallman and Chris Canty. Hey, before you go, I mentioned I do. It's odd. Like, I'm in the car early, and I go into the gym. I get to hear you guys like early, like in your first hour.
Wait, did you just humble brag me? Did you go to the gym?
No.
I think you kind of did. I think us in radio, we shouldn't go to the gym.
What?
Like, we're ruining our persona. If we work in radio, Matt, and we go to the gym, it shouldn't be that. It should not.
You have great hair and a beautiful jawline. I'm bald and trying to work on shedding my former offensive lineman body from 20 years ago.
You would have both of those if you were told a month ago you were getting this job. I didn't have either of those a month ago.
Respect. All right, last thing. I did not hear this part of the show, but I saw it on Twitter. All right, you and Michelle Smallman got into an argument over the preeminent condiment with wings. Is it ranch or blue cheese? What side of the argument did you fall on?
Yeah, I'm a blue cheese guy.
Hang up on him. Hang up on him. I can handle. I can handle front running Patriots. I cannot handle the ranch slander from people who insist that blue cheese is superior with wings. Wings were meant to be eaten with ranch, and I cannot handle this any other way.
Let me just understand something.
Okay.
I just told you that New England Patriots started winning, and then I became a fan, and that bothers you less than the fact that I like blue cheese with my wings.
Well, the reason that bothers me less is the fact that the sports world is filled with front runners. Look, you can go around Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and there's kids with Alabama stuff on because all they've ever seen is Nick Saban and Alabama win. Now, it makes me want to vomit, but I also understand that is a human condition. But when we talk about our taste buds, there should be things that are universal truths. For example, we all like ice cream, right? Who doesn't like ice cream? Oh, we lost him. Did we lose him or did you know what? You know what? The Muse, ranch or blue cheese? I don't hear you.
Ranch. It's not even close.
Paulie, ranch or blue cheese? And if you say blue cheese, you're fired, but you're not really.
I'm going ranch.
Okay, we're all ranch. That's what matters there. All right, Evan Cohen. He's on Twitter at EvCoRadio. We lost him. So it's all good. We'll continue here. But y'all check out the morning show. They're great. Continue on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by ProCharge. ProChargeEV.com. ProChargeEV.com. Blue cheese. Get out of here. You know who hates blue cheese? ProCharge. Not really. I can't support that at all. Although I think Pluckers is getting EV chargers soon. ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. If I tell you every day, if home or commercial building, you need to have EV chargers installed. Maybe you're a home builder. When you're building out your homes, why not have the home already equipped with an EV charger for the inevitability that someone who will live in that home in the future is going to have an electric vehicle? If you own a public building, a commercial building, remember, an amenity for customers, an amenity for employees, a revenue generator. You install an EV charger, there's tap-to-pay options where you'll get paid just for having that there. You don't have to do anything ProCharge manages at all. ProChargeEV.com.
At Corval Toyota in Opelousas, you can lease a new Toyota 4Runner for $489 per month. That's right. You can get a brand new 2023 Toyota 4Runner for $489 per month. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. But our number one product is always customer satisfaction. Visit us online at reliefwindows.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done, or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
When is a taco more than just a taco? When it's Government Taco. Voted best tacos 3 years in a row by 225 Magazine, Government Taco puts the most delicious spin on tacos the capital area has ever seen. With creative combinations like the Magna Carrot, the Filibuster, or the Steak of the Union. Plus perfect tortilla chips paired with the best salsa and queso you've ever had. And happy hour every day from 3 to 6 p.m. and all day on Thursday. Government Taco, 5621 Government Street.
Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
We need all hands on deck. We've got to be able to play with the same kind of competitive edge, the same kind of preparation. This is the grind of it now, right? This is where you get into your process and making sure that everybody has an understanding of doing the little things the right way every single day. We're off and running now. This is the good stuff for coaches. Players, maybe not so much. They want to get to Saturday, but we got to keep them focused on every single day.
Brian Kelly, when asked about how he can replicate the performance against Mississippi State throughout conference play, which is now here as you have a really tough stretch ahead of 5 consecutive SEC weeks. You've got from Mississippi State to Arkansas to road games against Ole Miss, Missouri, then you're home against Auburn, 5 straight conference games before you welcome in Army an open date, and then you're back at it in Tuscaloosa, as we all know. But you welcome in Arkansas at a time where the Hogs are trying to find themselves. And even Sam Pittman, was asked, how do you make sure that BYU loss, where if you didn't watch any of that game, Arkansas nearly doubled up BYU in total yardage and had a double-digit lead that they blew twice in that game, and had an opportunity late in the game, ball inside the 20-yard line, going to try to tie it or win it, and ultimately a penalty ended the game. Massively undisciplined day for Arkansas, and they lose at home against BYU, where they were an 8-point home favorite. So Sam Pittman was asked, how do you prevent that BYU loss from causing you to spiral here for the remainder of the season?
To me, it goes back into the preparation of it. I'm going to tell them what we have to do to beat LSU today. Then that's what we got to go do at practice. And as anything in life, as it fades a little bit, it's not so hit you in the face, it fades a little bit, then it kind of gets easier to turn the page and go to the next opponent. But if you waste a day, so we haven't. In other words, last year, I think when we got beat by Liberty, I think the next game was LSU, and we actually played really good. You may say you didn't play well offensively, but we were dealt a hand, and we got beat 13-10. We played a physical, good game. So I think that we'll do the same thing.
Dealt a tough hand, of course, was the fact that KJ Jefferson didn't play in that game against LSU, as we all well know. Malik Hornsby started, and they just got nothing going offensively. But when you look at Arkansas, we talked about this team needing to make sure they got off to a fast start, Arkansas, because of what was coming starting in this stretch. After BYU, now they're at LSU. They play Texas A&M, neutral site in Arlington, at Ole Miss, at Alabama. They are embarking on 4 consecutive weeks where they are on the road. And it's LSU, A&M, Ole Miss, Bama. Then they come home against Mississippi State. They get an open date and then got to go to Florida. Never easy to play in Gainesville, as Tennessee just found out or was reminded. Then they get Auburn at home. They play FIU, and then they have their fake rivalry game against Missouri the day after Thanksgiving. My point is, aside from FIU, show me the win. Show me, you know how I keep asking you with respect to LSU? Look at the schedule poster and show me where you're uncapping the Sharpie, handing it to me, and saying scribble an L right there. You can't do it. You can't do it on the LSU schedule because they're capable of winning any game the rest of the way. Not saying they will. LSU's capable of winning every game the rest of the way. With Arkansas, similarly, I could flip that and say, okay, here's the Sharpie, uncapped. Where are you, aside from the home game against FIU, here's the Sharpie, where are you scribbling a dub? Arkansas is an 18-point dog in Baton Rouge. How do you feel about that, Arkansas? Then you got to go play a neutral site game in Jerry World against A&M. Arkansas could certainly win that game. Absolutely. Could they lose it? Better believe it. Could Arkansas lose in Oxford? Yup. Could Arkansas lose in Tuscaloosa? Absolutely. Are they likely to beat Mississippi State in Fayetteville? Yeah, they're likely to. Are you convinced they will? At Florida? Home against Auburn? Who knows how good Hugh Freeze's squad's going to be by the time you get to the middle of November. And we know Arkansas doesn't care about that Missouri game the way Missouri does, similar to what it was like with LSU in the past. So, I mean, the brutal stretch for Arkansas is here, and the spiral is very possible. I mean, this is a team where I legitimately look at this schedule and go, I don't think they get to bowl eligibility. I think Arkansas and Mississippi State are battling for futility in the SEC West. One of those teams is going to finish last. Now, I picked State to finish last in the West, and I had Arkansas second to last. But, that game in Fayetteville on October 21st could be for the right to be out of the cellar in the SEC West. But when you look at what Arkansas draws as their cross-divisionals at Florida, and then, of course, their fake rivalry game against Mizzou, this is going to be a tough stretch for Sam Pittman and the Hogs. And they do have, obviously, KJ Jefferson, which they did not have a year ago. But can you play the update on Rocket Sanders? Rocket Sanders is a great running. Raheem Sanders, a.k.a. Rocket Sanders from Arkansas, has not played the past 2 weeks, swelling in his knee. They were holding him out in hopes of having him ready to go against LSU. Here was Sam Pittman's Monday update on Rocket Sanders.
I don't know if he's going to be able to play or not. And I tell you, it's probably, in all honesty, it's probably too early to really tell on that injury. We're going to have him out there a little bit today, kind of see where he's at. But to be honest with you, the answer is probably no at this point. Not know that he's not going to play. No, we just don't know.
Okay, so we'll follow that throughout the week. That's significant. I mean, they've held him out for 2 weeks trying to get him ready for this game. We'll see if he will be. For whatever it's worth, the post-Week 3 bowl projections, not many believing in LSU to get this thing all the way right back into the playoff or a New Year's Six. But Mark Schlabach has LSU in the Peach Bowl. Kyle Bonagura at ESPN has LSU in the ReliaQuest Bowl as well. That's the old Outback Bowl down in Tampa. Jerry Palm has LSU in the Cotton Bowl. Brad Crawford from 247 has LSU in the Gator Bowl. Brett McMurphy has LSU in the Citrus Bowl. So a lot of those New Year's Day type bowls, the Gator, the ReliaQuest, the Citrus. But a couple have LSU bumping up on the New Year's Six. But LSU replicates the performance this week that they had against Mississippi State and does the same at Ole Miss and against Missouri. Those believers are going to come around. There's opportunities there for LSU as the season goes along. They just got to keep playing well. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. We're brought to you by Mold Zero USA, mold-0usa.com, mold-0usa.com. I was in a building earlier today, as a matter of fact. We looked up at the air vent by the ceiling tiles, and you could see mold. Why? Because you have condensation generally around an air vent, and then with the humidity in our state this time of year, it's a breeding ground for mold. So look up around the air vents in your office building, your home, whatever it may be. If you see mold or think you might have mold, hidden mold behind walls, let Mold Zero come and find it for you. Let Mold Zero knock it out for you. Mold Zero USA, mold-0usa.com. That's the website. Kill mold, remove odors, other harmful pathogens. It's a patented non-toxic dry fog. It's such an easy system to implement. They're in and out in less than a day, and your home, your office building is completely mold and pathogen free. Mold Zero USA. Learn more. mold-0usa.com. Okay, y'all. Muse is going to do Tigers and the Pros to wrap up hour number one when we come back next. And we'll have Sean Salisbury coming up after the top of the hour. Always love having Sean here. I want his take in particular on the New Orleans Saints and that offensive line and what Derek Carr can realistically do, what getting Alvin Kamara back will realistically mean for the New Orleans Saints offense, because the defense is playing as great as they are. How can the offense catch up and get on track? That's a major question for this team. We'll get to that with Sean Salisbury coming up in about 15 minutes from right now. Stick around. We'll do Tigers and the Pros next here on AFR.
AFR.
Home Central AC not keeping up? You know what to do. Call River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. In relatively short order, we'll be telling you and talking more about the preseason heater maintenance, but we're not there yet. Right now, what we're talking about is getting those ACs in tip-top shape and making sure that you don't get stuck sweating, because we're still talking about 90-degree temps. Michelle Rhodes sent this 5-star Google review. I chose Kelly because he and JJ have been servicing my home for many years. Today, we had the pleasure of meeting Sam. He was amazing. He was great with all of the furry children, the pets, and found our unit was not operating the way it should. Took care of the issue, had great advice on the maintenance. He noticed we have never experienced other than excellent service since doing business with River City's 1 Hour Air dating back to 2005. Have another 5-star review. River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP or 2.9% for 72 months on all new 23 Ram 1500 trucks in stock. All with Bayou's 1 million-mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
The importance of doing this fortified program and offering it to people down here is, number one, the only real chance you're going to get to do this is when you put on a new roof or build new. And through companies like HUDCO, who's kind of leading the way in this thing, it's going to offer the customers a huge advantage in the insurance market and the price of their insurance.
You know, we're not looking to make a fortune off fortifying. We're trying to give you a better product than our competitor at the moment. I'm trying to do something that he can. I'm trying to give you something better. So a lot of these insurance shops, you're getting a re-roof, you're only paying your deductible. Let's sit down and talk about the fortified and let's see what it does to your insurance premium. You're getting a steal.
Yeah.
You're getting a brand new roof and a fortified certificate for your deductible, essentially. I think we're rocking and rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, wrapping up hour number 2, Muso, Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
All right, so all 4 teams that participated in Monday Night Football last night had LSU players all over the field. So let's go through it. We'll start with the early game. That was the Saints and the Panthers. For the Saints, Foster Moreau, 2 receptions off the 2 targets, a quick 20 yards for him with a long of 14. Receiving on the other side, DJ Chark, just the 1 reception, 15 yards. Of course, was activated for that game after dealing with the injury. And again, 1 reception, 1 target, despite Dan Orlovsky constantly wanting him to be targeted more in that ballgame. Defensively, you start with Tyrann Mathieu for the Saints. 5 total tackles in the game for the Honey Badger, 3 of those solo. On the other side, you have Dante Jackson, who was active last night. 6 tackles in the ballgame. Was also in coverage, of course, for Rashid Shaheed's long catch late in the game, and Michael Thomas's catch where he was just in by his backside in that one.
Yeah.
The nightcap. Cleveland Browns, Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll start with the Browns, and we'll start with Grant Delpit, who was everywhere. It is great to see him healthy. I know we talked about that last week in this segment, but man, it is great to see him healthy. 6 total tackles in the game. That led the Cleveland defense. 1 pass defense, an interception, and a fumble recovery. Now, the caveat to that is he also fumbled that recovery, but it was a wild play. But still, stuffed the stat sheet there with the fumble recovery all over the field. Grant Delpit. Quan Alexander. Don't know where the extra...
Kawan.
Yeah, don't know where that came from.
Quan
Alexander.
Kawan.
That's like Moreau. You know?
Oh, God.
There it is. Yeah, you like
Fingernails
that?
on the chalk.
And then do that get you.
And the worse is the Saints media doing it.
Yeah.
You know better.
Yeah.
You know better.
You do.
The guy went to Jesuit.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Went to
from
LSU.
the city. Yeah.
Like, we've been talking about this guy since like 2014.
Yes.
Like, Moro.
Moro.
It's Moro.
It's
We
Moro.
all know a million Moros.
We do,
Moro.
yes, that's-
Everyone knows a Moro.
Yeah.
You live here, you know a Moro. You know Moros. You know plenty of Moros.
Multiple.
Doug Moro.
Plural. There you go.
Andre Moro.
You could keep going.
Al Moro.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Moros. Foster Moro. It's not Moreau.
Yeah.
Part of me excuses some of the ignorance from outside of it, but if you live here, you're from, you cover, why are you saying Moreau? Not Moreau. Moro.
Yeah,
Moro.
That's true. Quan Alexander, likewise to Grant Delpit, was the leading tackler on his team. 9 of them, including a TFL, and then Pat Peterson, P2, if you want to call him that. 2 tackles in the ball game and a pass defense. That's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where you better believe if Foster Moro is going to get engaged. Yeah, well, I don't know if I can't back that up. I shouldn't say that. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. I was just going to do a Moro thing, but I don't want to get people sideways or confused. Brand recognition matters. Anyway, Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. lmfj.com for Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. How about if I said this? I'm sure there are plenty of Moros throughout Louisiana who have gone to Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry to buy a ring. Thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Hour 3, Sean Salisbury next.
AFR.
Okay, y'all. I love telling you about South Point Volkswagen. Airline just north of Highland, southpointvw.com, southpointvw.com, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. Hey, for our friends in Lafayette, Lake Charles, remember Southwest Volkswagen is there in Lafayette, so shorter drive for you, same great ownership group, Southwest Volkswagen. Hey, right now, you can reserve your ID4. If you've ever been curious about driving an electric vehicle and you haven't, and I hadn't ever driven an EV until South Point got their shipment of ID4s. I went over there, got behind the wheel. The really cool thing, if you haven't seen the new commercial yet, where the dad keeps getting into the car and it's sit to start. So when you sit in the seat, the car starts. And so you can hear it playing like the Jitterbug, the Wake Me Up Before You Go song, like the weird freak gasoline fight accident from Zoolander song. And the little girl in the back seat's laughing. Anyway, you got to check it out. It's a cute commercial. You can drive one today at South Point Volkswagen. southpointvw.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. Following the shooting death of a teenager at a high school football game, there's a move to pull guns out of the hands of juveniles in West Baton Rouge Parish. Social media is turning out to be a huge resource. District Attorney Tony Clayton says it's where several groups they've identified as gangs are posting their videos, and he believes many of the young people involved are juveniles. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
It was a humid day, barefoot children play, looking for that summer shade. Time just slips away. Oh, Louisiana, some kind of hold on me, like cypress stumps. Your roots are planted deep inside of me.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Scooncha fall in the air fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water, they can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines, or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news, Angels two-way megastar Shohei Ohtani has had right elbow surgery. The expectation is that he'll be ready to hit without any restrictions opening day next season and be able to pitch and hit in 2025. Ohtani said to be a free agent this winter, lined up for a record-setting payday. Colorado football coach Deion Sanders confirmed two-way star Travis Hunter's out at least through Saturday's game against Oregon because of a lacerated liver sustained on an illegal hit by Colorado State defensive back Henry Blackburn. The death threats that Blackburn's received for the hit condemned by Sanders.
Henry Blackburn is a good player who played a phenomenal game. He made a tremendous hit on Travis on the sideline. You could call it dirty. You could call it he was just playing the game of football. He does not deserve a death threat over a game.
Colorado coach Deion Sanders. Giants not yet ruling out running back Saquon Barkley Thursday night despite a sprained ankle. Coach Brian Dable said he'll be a game-time decision. Browns running back Nick Chubb had season-ending knee surgery. Jerome Ford is now Cleveland's featured back.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, man!
Hey, shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusu. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. One of my favorite times of the week. Every Tuesday, we get to chat with former NFL quarterback Sean Salisbury. Does an awesome job tutoring quarterbacks as well. Mornings there on Sports Talk 790 in Houston. Good enough to join us on Tuesdays, talk a little ball. Sean, always appreciate you, man. How are you?
Well, I'm doing great, man. Good to be on with you. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome. Look, Saints are 2-0, man. It's hard to be upset with that. But the big storyline after last night, really the last 2 weeks, has been how bad the Saints' offensive line is and how much this offense has been stuck in the mud trying to complement a great defense. From what you've seen, what is a realistic expectation for how much better the offense can get as the season goes along to complement that defense, which has been pretty magnificent?
Yeah, they put it on them last night and the week before. I don't think we've seen the offense near at its best. I mean, what did they give up? 4 sacks, I think, last night. You have to protect the passer a little bit more, and and the timing of getting the ball out. It's kind of, I think the team improvement offensively will get better. And how long we got till Kamara comes back? So a couple weeks?
Yeah, no, he's
2
out.
weeks. Right?
He's out this week against Green Bay, and then he returns week 4 against Tampa.
There you go. So that'll be a nice addition. Fresh legs and ready to go, and a guy who makes you defend the entire, in the run game, sideline to sideline, and his ability to, what'll really help too, while I love the way he runs, his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield, Matty. You know this. I'm not telling you anything they don't know, but that puts a lot less stress on the guys up front. But it's going to have to get better. Obviously, they're fortunate they're in a division that they can still win if they don't play great. But I don't think we've seen the offense anywhere near a passing game, even though I think Carr's to top 10 in yards. But it's the efficiency of making sure, 20 points to me is not going to be enough for the Saints. They're better than that. And I think they'll get better. Here's one thing, though. I get asked this, and I get asked this about Houston, too, or any team. How tough is it to fix an offensive line or change protection during a season? You know what I mean, Matty? We don't, it's really, I don't know about you, but the last 2 weeks, and this isn't old school, has nothing to do with what era you're playing in or viewing in or the younger or the older players. I don't care about that. It has everything to do with shortened training camp. You just got to understand, and you do, but we got to accept defenses usually are ahead. Sometimes that guys like Micah Parsons and TJ Watt almost feel unblockable. And I the two things that stick out is training camp is not long enough for you to get the exact number of reps. I'm not even talking about games. I'm talking about on the practice field in pads and two-a-days and step into the right position. That's why the offensive line, like in Houston, when you got 4 of the 5 guys hurt, or when you're not in sync, how do you fix the mechanics during the week? Because we're game planning. We're not like, okay, like in preseason, we'll game plan in preseason. We're working on the mechanics and the steps and putting in your library. When you go to the regular season, we don't have time to wait on guys. Hey, let's go over to the side and work on our mechanics. You're putting a game plan in, so you've got to double time it. And while you're doing that, you're still trying to work on, okay, the continuity of the 5 guys up front. When Alvin gets back, okay, protection purposes and the way we're sliding the line. So that's going to be the slowest transition. So during the season, I would expect that to come a little slower. I think the offense will come faster now. Listen, they're both tied together at the hip. The offense is always better when the guys up front dominate. But there's another level to it. But I don't think I'd expect Pro Bowl performances during the season overall, like they're going to be one of the 3 best lines. But if you can just make some 1 or 2% better each week and have your full complement of people healthy, you'll get better. The team's going to be better, and the team will score more. And the defense, like you said, we've said for a few years, when they get it going, they're a Super Bowl caliber defense. We've seen the Jets and the Cowboys, and a few other teams play really good defense. I like this team, and the division they're in. But with Carr, they're going to get better, and they're going to run games, going to increase, and they'll make more plays. But the offensive line is a very. It's been a sore spot in the NFL to start the first 2 weeks, and quarterback play has been average around the league. So it's not just in New Orleans. You're getting it a lot of places right now, especially when it comes to blocking people.
Yeah, a lot of people have maybe mentioned that with Cincinnati, right? I mean, Joe Burrow missing camp, and then obviously all the issues with the offensive line there as well.
And real quick, Matty, about that, they always start slow in Cincinnati. But what's been the reason? Like, it's not fair to say one, but for me, the overwhelming reason the last 2 years. Last year they didn't move on to the playoffs. And the year before when they went to the Super Bowl, and let's see who beat them in the Super Bowl.
It was the Rams.
Rams, there you go. The Rams in the Super Bowl is what's been the problem with them, and it was the offensive line. It lasted most of the season. They got knocked around, so that's going to have to improve too. And look at all the playmakers on that team. So this is sloppy play up front and confused play up front. That's why guys like Parsons and Watt and Bosa's are going to dominate for a minute.
Hey, do you remember playing behind a leaky offensive line and what that did for you? Because I'm trying to think about for Derek Carr what this has to be like for him as a veteran guy. I mean, he's 10 years in the league now. He's played a lot of ball, but it just can't be comfortable knowing you're constantly under duress every time you drop back.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's not even just the sacks, man. It's the constant pressures and hits. They take their toll, and I don't care if you're a third-year guy or a 10 or 12-year guy. What happens is the tendency, if you keep getting hit, you're not afraid or any of that, but what happens is your head then, one is the ball prematurely goes places you don't want it to go. I mean, we like good timing and want it thrown on time, but sometimes in order to prevent it, because you feel the rush, that ball's coming out even too soon, if that makes sense. A lot of times we see guys hold it on longer, but when you start to get a feel for that built-in time clock, that you're not getting to the built-in time clock, that even the pre-part of it's like, man, this is instant pressure. And you can't live on the quick game alone, because when you do, They squeeze you. So that intermediate pushing back 5 steps in a hitch or a second hitch or 7 or 5, but with play action, you're holding the ball a little longer to be able to extend it down the field. You cannot live horizontally or just check down the whole time to get the ball out. That's one. And I can tell you, so your head starts to go to the rush. And then with that second or third read, Matty, if you're holding on to the ball, you're late getting to 2, which automatically makes you late getting to 3 because you go head up like a rookie does, boom. And you're starting to watch a little more pass rush. That's human nature now. The more veteran you are, the chin stays up and you're feeling pass rush. But you already know going in, you get a feel for a game that this is a pressure point. So whether it's somebody with health issues up front or just execution issues, I was fortunate, man, at SC. Roy Foster, Bruce Matthews, Don Moscona, all first rounders. The quarterback should have been better, right? In Minnesota, Randall McDaniel, Gary Zimmerman, 2 Hall of Famers. Yeah, now the Chargers, we had a few guys banged up, but we were able to still do some pretty good things. I've never been on a team where when I drop back to pass, it's like you can't even set up before it's out. But veterans a little more advantage because they understand where you're going with the football, but still – getting rid of it prematurely doesn't give people a chance to finish their routes, and you can't live on 0 to 5 yards or the quick game your whole life. That's going to have to improve for Derek to be able to hold the ball. One thing, though, he saw with his brother, he saw some of it in Oakland. He's pretty tough, man. He knows how to get it out, but that will improve with more reps because the preseason, again, there's minimal physicality, and a lot of the time those big fellas aren't playing a lot of snaps to get 5 guys in continuity. That's more important than getting in continuity with a wide receiver who's running a 12-yard curl. Yeah. Those 5 guys up front got to be in sync like a swimming pool. When you're doing those gold medal in sync stuff, the line got to be in sync as much as anybody on the field.
The synchronized swimmers with their matching
there you
caps.
Go. Synchronized. That's exactly right.
Hey,
I don't think they want to wear the swimming hats, but other than that, you got to be pretty close together. So you got to know what the left arm's telling the right arm with the right guard and kind of lock an arm in arm and get it done.
He's on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Y'all give him a follow. Let me ask also about the NFC South. I mean, I think coming into the season, we all here thought this would be the worst division in the NFC, maybe in football. But here you have Atlanta, Tampa, New Orleans, all 2-0. Atlanta, a nice win this weekend over Green Bay at home. We saw Tampa maybe with the most surprising result so far, Sean, going up to Minnesota and getting a win in week 1. Is this division better than maybe we gave it credit for? It's just too early.
Probably. When I say better, I don't think, Maddie, that they're in any of the 3 teams that you mentioned are in the big boy, that big boy where it's like, if I'm naming 5, yet, who's a big boy that's supposed to be a big boy? The Cincinnati Bengals, and they look anything but that. So I think the Bengals aren't going to live where they've been living the last 2 weeks. You and I both know that. Yet, I mean, look at the Browns offense now with Nick Chubb out, and Watson has struggled mightily. It's up and down the league. And, even in Atlanta, Ritter's been a high percentage guy, but they're not stretching the field vertically. They're not getting a lot of big plays down the field. They got a couple this past week. We've seen Bryce Young. Yeah, and Mayfield, well, the two teams that are the better teams right now, the experienced quarterbacks, even though neither one of them were on these teams, but Baker's playing good. So, yeah, I think it's a better division because going in, it was like somebody going to win it with 8 wins this year. But I love the 2 at the top, in particular in Tampa and in New Orleans. Defense is going to sustain them for a while because they're both flying around, and we know Tampa's defense is great against the run. And now Atlanta, I like Arthur Smith. Ritter's efficient enough. And the best offensive player in my opinion, it's a rookie, is Robinson. Bijan Robinson's a friggin' freak show. Yeah. And he is going to make it really, really easy on quarterbacks to just play smart because he is their 1-2 punch in running game. That will keep them in games as well. Carolina's got a long way to go. But, yeah, I do think it's better. And when Tampa sent that message to the Vikings, who are going to score 1,000 points this year and give up 1,020, is that they do what the Vikings do. They'll pass it all over the lot, and all of a sudden you're saying, how'd they lose? They find ways, and unfortunately, it's becoming a habit there. They're better than that. But, yeah, I think at the top it's better. It's a deeper division we thought, but I don't think I can put them in the 49er big boy category type yet, Miami Dolphins. But they're in the next tier down. Their record says they are, but they're going to have to do a few more things to be able to hop up into that elite status. Their defense is, but the overall product's going to have to get better in that division overall.
Sean Salisbury's with us. We always get a couple of segments. Sit tight, Sean. We'll come back. There's a couple more NFL. I want to talk some NFL quarterback stuff as well as we continue. We're powered by Sunshine, where they're giving away a John Deere Gator. You can go to any of their social media or go to the website, sunnequipjd.com, to learn more. Go to any of their social media, and you'll see it right there. Sunnequip.com, or go to their social media. You could see the link to win the John Deere Gator. They're doing in conjunction with the New Orleans Saints. The Saints Gator, it's right there where you can go. All the proceeds benefit future farmers of America. Really cool giveaway. You can check it out at their website, sunnequip.com. You'll see the link as well at all their social media. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. Come back, continue with Sean Salisbury next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Watermark Hotel and the Renaissance Hotel. Two amazing hotel properties here in Baton Rouge. It is football season. So many times people are coming in for game day weekends, or maybe as we start to think toward the holiday, if it's the Thanksgiving holiday, the Christmas holiday, which will be here before you know it. You'll have a family coming in town. Make sure they book at the Watermark or at the Renaissance. Watermark downtown, Renaissance Southtown, as they call it, right there on Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge near I-10. The Renaissance is where the LSU football team stays the Friday night before every LSU home game. So this Friday before Arkansas, the Tigers will be there at the Renaissance. You want to talk about being able to host your meeting or event? Think about hosting an entire football team. Not only the team, but the support staff, all traveling, enough rooms, then meeting space. They have different meeting rooms for every position group, and then the team meals and everything. They can host your event as well at the Renaissance Hotel. Call Allison Crump over at the Renaissance. She'll get you squared away. It's the Renaissance Hotel.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on select new 23 Ford F-150 trucks. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Officially, it's a fridge full of beer. Unofficially, it's free AC. Coors Light, the official beer of everything unofficial.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, glad to have Sean Salisbury with us here every Tuesday. Talk a little ball. Talk to Saints, NFC South there in the first segment. I want to get to some LSU and some college stuff, but Sean, I know you're there in Houston. I gotta know your thoughts on Dallas because, man, through 2 weeks, they've been the most impressive team in the NFL through 2 weeks. Are they the best team in the NFL? Are they real?
Yeah, I think they are. They've always had real talent, but it feels to me, now this is going to be kind of harsh, and I guess I don't mean it like this. When I watch Kellen Moore, Matty, I think we talked about it last year. But when Kellen Moore, who I have a ton of respect for, I felt like offensively the identity was for him, throw, because I want to be a head coach. That's how I felt on it. When I watched him, I felt, even though they had Pollard and Zeke in the backfield, I felt when it out, and that puts a lot of strain on Dak, who's a good player. That's okay. You make a lot of money. There should be strain on you. And Kellen Moore may very well be a head coach. I just felt in Dallas, the offense needed to be dialed in a little bit. I did. I thought it was a little loose. Does that make sense? And
yeah.
Quarterback throwing the ball, the other team and leading the league in interceptions. And hey, looking LA right now, Brandon Staley, Kellen Moore, there's some struggles going on, and that's a short leash. Hell, Kellen Moore may be the head coach there in 3 weeks if this doesn't change for Staley and they don't get better, because that's a better team than 0-2. But I digress. For me, I do. They run it efficiently. We know they can move the pile. They're really good up front. I think Prescott's got a bone to pick. He's not going to say it out loud, but I think there's some people started talking about him like he was some hack. Now, last year at times, he threw the ball. I think he led the league in interceptions. Red zone interceptions was Josh Allen, if I'm not mistaken, or turnovers. So he'll play better, but I don't think Mike McCarthy wants to throw it 48 times. I think Mike wants to get him 25 to 30 completions in that 35 range, 28 to 35 range, and then a lot of play action and use some legs at Dak. Mike's done a nice job, and remember the emphasis on playing it safe. So you get the both. The offensive coordinator is Schottenheimer, and Brian, when he was with the Jets, what'd they do? They played defense when he was a coordinator there, and they ran the ball as well as anybody, both of those in the league with Rex Ryan. Well, now they've got a quarterback who can extend it and throw it. They've got some playmaking perimeter people, but their defense is frigging sick. Dan Quinn's going to get another shot. Dan is maximizing every position. They went down, with Gilmore in the secondary, and they went out Hooker. They went out and got some veterans who still got some game, and then coupled with Micah Parsons, who, listen, I understand T.J. Watt and Bosa, who are good. I think Micah Parsons may vary, and I'm including guys who get the snap 70 times a game. I'm not sure Micah Parsons isn't the best football player on the planet right now, Matty. I'm being serious. Now, when I say that, hold my beer as T.J. Watt, Nick Bosa, Myles Garrett on his days, but the explosiveness on every play. His first step in explosiveness is the best I've seen since we played against Lawrence Taylor and the Giants. I'm not kidding you. I think now it's high praise. He's only in his third year, but 2 runner-ups of the MVP on defense, and he's going to be in that argument now too. Because I'll tell you, if you're taking T.J. Watt, I'm taking Parsons. You're taking Parsons, I'll take Watt or Bosa. Any of those three, mix them and match them. But I got to tell you, man, he's the greatest disruptor in football, in my opinion, on a daily basis, and maybe the most unblockable. And if you take away quarterbacks, hell, 3 of the 5 best players in the league might be those 3 plus a player or 2, like a Jefferson. So, man, quarterbacks can impact it because they got the ball in their hand, but this guy will impact the game as much as anybody. And they're schemed up. They're in the right spot. They are ball hawks, and they get after you relentlessly. And I think the Cowboys are good. And the Eagles are going to have their hands full. It's all going to come down to the guy under center just making sure you protect the ball without playing scared. Yeah, them, 49ers, Dolphins, 3 or 4, they could beat each other half the time. But as long as the Cowboys keep doing this, you're going to get a lot of short fields, Matty, and you can make the argument Parsons is the best player on the planet.
Hey, man, LT is one of only 2 players ever to win the MVP, defensive players ever to win the MVP.
Right. He can do it. Parsons can do it. I do. Now, at the quarterback, Matty, it's like trying to tell us that the Heisman Trophy winner is going to be a defensive end. We just don't see that often, right?
Right.
Now, when it's only been a couple times, we know impact of LT. And Parsons, I don't think, is satisfied with just being the defensive guy, even though he's, like I said, been a runner-up twice, and Bosa did deserve it last year. But Yeah, I think his impact in the game, especially if it goes like this, where defense is carrying him, offense is playing well. And, Matty, you tell me, aside from Tua in this league right now, what quarterback is setting you on your ear so far, numbers-wise?
Oh,
there isn't
no,
one.
not through 2 weeks. No,
I'm talking about
Yeah.
Okay, is an offensive player the MVP in the league not named Tua right now, or is it a defensive player? It's a
No, you're right.
defensive
Yeah.
player.
Yeah, you're right.
It has to be. Mahomes will put up gaudy numbers eventually. Burrow's catch up. Lamar. I mean, we can go through the names.
Yeah.
But nobody. I mean, I can name 2 or 3 guys that have impacted the game so far, outside of maybe 2. And his numbers were down a little bit this past week, but they're gaudy. But there's nobody impacting the game like 2 or 3 edge rushing disruptor type players right now. It's a long haul, and offenses will get better. But I'm just telling you that this is as good a chance as any, at least from the 2 weeks I've seen, for one of those cats like a Micah Parsons to do what LT did and take care of that, where it's not just defensive MVP, where we look at it and say, that's the best player in football. I can make the case right now.
If he ends up with 20 sacks like LT did back in '86, it's not just in the conversation. Like, he's getting votes, and it's a real thing if he gets there.
Yeah.
And he could.
And this isn't just hype, Matty. He is relentless on his preparation and what he's doing, and he's got the perfect coordinator for him, deploying him all over the place, which is what they did with LT, which is what they did with Reggie, the great Watt. You move those guys around so you don't get to die. It's like a receiver that's really good, Matty, but doesn't get off press coverage well. What do? You motion him, right? You put him in different spots so we can't find him. You don't leave him stationary if a guy's going to get manhandled. Same thing here. You move him around so the left guard's got to block him, the A-gap's got to block him, the right tackle, left tackle. We blitz 2 guys, boom, loop him. And he's so quick that if you are 1 split second late getting out of your stance or step left with the outside and try to punch inside, he's by you. So, yes, if he wins it will be – now, we're a long way away, but it will be legit because he's not the guy that's out there saying, vote for me, vote for me. He's wearing you out, and it's not just the sacks. He's wearing you out on hits and pressures, and you got to know where he is on every snap because you're going to slide the line to him. This guy is a monster since he's come in the league, and every year he's gotten better, which is crazy.
Sean Salisbury's with us on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. You mentioned Burrow. Cincinnati was 0-2 last year, and they made it to the AFC Championship game. This 0-2 feels different. Is it different this year?
It's different for me for one reason. Well, we know the line. It's different for me because it feels to me like the passing game, what they do on offense, has not been explosive. The accuracy, the separation with the 3 big-time receivers, some dominance with Mixon out of the backfield. They look, sluggish may not be the right word, but they look a little bit lost right now. And you know how I feel about Burrow.
Yeah.
I can put him in the category as the best player at his position in football in the argument with the Mahomes group and the 3 or 4 or 5 at the top, but I'm with you. I do believe that this is I know typical of Joe and the start for Cincinnati, but it does feel a bit different to me. They're fortunate that the Browns aren't exactly killing people. Baltimore's good, but they're trying to find their way on a consistent basis offensively. Now with Chubb being hurt, Pittsburgh, Kenny Pickett, and people are killing Matt Canada. So the fortunate part for them in the division is we haven't seen Monken's huge impact yet. So there's in Baltimore, there's some things struggling, but I know they're going to come out of it. But I came into this season thinking they could be dominant. It does feel different to me because normally when this is going on, I still see Joe keeping you in every game. They look like they can be defended. Now I say that now, in 3 weeks from now, they may be 3-2. So I trust Burrow's going to get them out of it. There's something in explosive side of it and the execution side of it that feels late to the party. I don't like it. And the injury to the calf, soft tissue injuries to hamstrings and calves bother me, Matty, because they linger. And a guy who has to make a quick burst and a quick twitch move like Burrow to get out and reset, those things can hang around a while. The Bengals aren't good enough to overcome Joe Burrow being out 3 or 4 weeks in a brutally tough division.
Yeah, Monday Night Football against the Rams for the Bengals at home against the Rams this week.
Seems like a little more important now, the way the Rams have kind of hung in there a little bit, right? Yeah, no doubt.
Y'all follow him on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Sean, I'm not sure how much you got to see of the LSU Mississippi State game this week, but Jaden Daniels went off. He was 30 of 34, and he was the SEC Player of the Week and was he's throwing dimes on 4th and 7 for 33 yards. And so, it looked awesome. The big question here is whether or not year to year we're seeing, like, last year throughout the year, we saw this progression for Jaden Daniels. And a big part of that was his offensive line getting steadied and them just coming into their own. And then there was this hope that he would just continue that progression this year. I think there was maybe a question about that after Florida State, but the last 2 games have been freaking unbelievable. So are you noticing that, or is there something specific that you've noticed from Jaden that might be different from a year ago with a trained eye as opposed to a casual observer like me or anybody watching?
Matty, I love him, man. I do. It took him a minute. First off, he's played in like 50 games.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like,
I think from Arizona State.
I think he's at 47,
yeah.
48. Yeah, he's right there. Yeah.
Yeah, he's pushing 5 decades of games when I say it 50 games. The dude has been in a lot of football, and I don't discount that. I'm telling you that there's a light switch, and whenever it goes on, it could be in game 22, it could be in game. And remember, switching offenses and changing and all that, that's also a factor that comes into this. You don't just hit the ground running a lot of times when it's brand new, and meaning last year. But he's played in so many games of it. There's only so many coverages you can see. I mean, we can't reinvent the wheel of coverage. Now, how you execute them and move them around and disguise them is one thing. But it seems to me like the disguise is not bothering him like it does. Quarterbacks, you're in it, and in college they don't disguise as much as the NFL. But in the SEC with defense, they're going to disguise more than somebody in another conference does because they have better players. Mm-hmm. Now, this year, I'm finally get to make the argument, stand up and yell, Matty, that the Pac-12 is the best conference in football right now.
They
on
are
our
right
way
now.
out to the Pac-12. Yeah, damn right. 7 of them or so in the top 25. And the best quarterback play going on in the world right now, consistently up and down, is the Pac-12. So I just had to get that in. But back to Jaden Daniels. I love him. Why? You can tell he's feeling more comfortable with Brian Kelly, what Brian's trying to, that system's trying to teach. And what I also love is he's using his legs and feet at the right time. The bailout is at the right time. The designed runs at the right time. And I think the thing that sticks out the most, aside from the experience and seeing it, is they're pushing the ball vertically down the field more. You remember when he came in last year, a lot of it was check down Charlie to make sure you're getting the ball out, and then it started to expand. The expansion of his game started a little later last year than it did this year. Well, that's normal because now he's in his second year with this kind of system. So I like the fact, and what happens, Matty, like we were talking about being squeezed in a quick game, when you are vertically attacking and at least stretching it, you can't help but get more space underneath. He's been accurate with the football. Teams now are defending. If you let him have his legs, he'll rush for 100 yards on you.
Yeah.
Right now, he is as complete of, not named Caleb Williams and I guess Shedeur Sanders. Is there anybody more complete in college football? I know how good Drake May is, but the feet, the arm, the leadership. I love Jaden Daniels, and it's going to bode well because they've got a chance to, after that unfortunate loss. They dismantled Mississippi State's new offense. They couldn't run it.
Ooh.
They couldn't throw it. They ran more plays, and they couldn't stop Jaden Daniels. So Mississippi State isn't as bad as they look, but LSU made them look very, very subpar last week. Arkansas is going to try to run it. We know that whole thing, and their offensive line's always big. But I can Jaden Daniels, outside of what we've seen by a few quarterbacks in the Pac-12 and a couple spot plays, he is as good. Well, he's the best quarterback in the SEC, in my opinion, and he's proven it. He's the best one. You give me Joe Milton, who's got a big arm, but I'm talking about all around legs, and the toughest guy to defend in the SEC right now plays quarterback at LSU. And I don't think there's any question about it. And I think when you look at Ohio State in the Big Ten, Georgia's still got strides to make. Alabama's quarterback, the young guys, there are still ways to go. LSU doesn't have that problem. LSU is just simple. Make sure you keep executing and keep the quarterback doing his thing. The LSU has the most complete and best quarterback in the SEC, and he is a legitimate Heisman threat and will be playing on Sundays. I love the transformation and the urgency of the way he picked this up and the way he's playing.
When we have you back, we'll talk more about Jaden as a Sunday prospect because that's very intriguing, but we'll save that for another day.
No question. It's sorry to keep you so long, but
good.
I like the way he's playing, Matty, and I like the way they're playing in rhythm after that first loss.
He's Sean Salisbury on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Catch him weekdays, Sports Talk 790 there in Houston. You know him. He's everywhere. He's Sean Salisbury. We appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you as always. Thank you.
We'll do it again next week. It's After Further Review. We're glad you're with us. Let me knock out a quick break. We will continue on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, brokered by eXp Realty. Every home listed by every company. You know where to find them. Agent225.com, the most user-friendly website in real estate. Agent225.com. That's where you'll find Darren James. You can always call Darren as well. I give you a cell number, 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com. The great news for homeowners that are thinking about selling in the Baton Rouge area, the great news is that right now we have shifted into a seller's market. There is roughly about a 3-month inventory in Baton Rouge right now. Normal is about 6 months. So there's roughly half the normal amount of inventory available as usual. So buyers don't have as many properties to look at as they normally do. So if you were thinking about selling your home, call the best. Call Darren James. 335-7666 or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $12,000 off MSRP or 2.9% for 72 months on all new 23 Ram 1500 trucks in stock. All with Bayou's 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
The world's leaders in obesity research, obesity medicine, and obesity science are right here.
We're doing something that no one's ever done or trying to answer a question that no one's ever asked before.
Pennington is a real jewel when it comes to research.
We are finding the solutions to the world's worst chronic disease, which is obesity. Louisiana needs Pennington Biomedical.
Scooncha, fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there in the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, they've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family of front-to-back boat service.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps are held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
Step inside an Infiniti QX50, and you'll find a suite of driver-focused features tailored to your taste.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Man, the Otter was so close. So close to a 2-0 night. He gave his best bet. The best bet was the Steelers plus 2.5. That hit. Got an outright winner. His other bet on the night was the Saints laying the 3. But for the loose defense at the end with the 11-point lead, and then not only Carolina scoring, but then Carolina getting the 2-point conversion, Saints plus 3 bettors had to be a little distraught about that. But nonetheless, still a win and a push, so another winning night for the Otter. We'll get the Otter locks here in less than 10 minutes from right now. One other quick note from the game last night. Shaq Thompson who was injured on the play where Trevor Penning was kind of locked up there with Deshaun Williams, and Deshaun Williams threw Trevor Penning on the ground into Shaq Thompson. Shaq Thompson broke his fibula, and he had surgery today to repair the broken fibula. So Shaq Thompson's done for the year. Not that you would ever in any way celebrate an injury, but the point being that it's significant to the extent that you're looking at the NFC South right now, and we feel like the Saints are the best team in the South, but you've also got Tampa and Atlanta at 2-0, Carolina 0-2, and that Carolina offense, which has struggled to get going under Bryce Young, and now you're down J.C. Horn, who's out for a significant amount of time with a hamstring injury, and now you're without Thompson as well. That's 2 defensive starters from a team leaning on its defense while its offense comes along. That's a really tough spot for Carolina to be in. And it just goes to illustrate again the margin between winning and losing in the NFL. It's just so thin. Look at Denver. Look at Denver the last 2 weeks. In particular, you hit a Hail Mary, but you missed the 2-point conversion. It's just, Will Lutz misses a PAT and a field goal week 1, and you lose the game the way you do it. The margin in the NFL is so slim. So, yeah, being without a couple of starters defensively could be really devastating for Carolina as they move through it. All right, it's after further review. By the way, if you want to wager on the NFL, DraftKings, official sports betting partner of the NFL, we are steamrolling toward Week 3, which will start on Thursday night football. Tell you all the time, if you're a new customer, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. Make a $5 bet on the NFL. Just a $5 bet on the NFL. It could be a money line bet. It could be a point spread. It could be a prop bet. It could be futures bets. It could be anything. Total. Make a $5 bet on the NFL. They'll give you $200 in bonus bets instantly at the DraftKings Sportsbook. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. And remember, every game day, all customers, new or existing, every game day throughout September at the DraftKings Sportsbook, they've got great specials. So make sure you check. You'll have to opt in to whatever those particular game day offers are, but check them out every single NFL game day throughout September at the DraftKings Sportsbook. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code Baton Rouge. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/football. Terms. Licensed partner. Golden Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. We'll get to Otterlocks here shortly. You've probably seen this by now. This has gone viral. This is at 1.4 million views on Twitter alone. Roback, which is an apparel company, and shout out to Roback. They reached out to us, so we may be working together loosely or in some capacity with them. So just in the name of full disclosure. Muse wears a Roback hat, almost every day. When you're not wearing your Benny the Jet, your Smalls hat, you wear that one, the Roback hat?
I don't know what Smalls hat you're talking about that year, but yeah.
Your Benny the Jet, Rodriguez Smalls from Sandlot. Yeah, that's
Sandlot.
Yeah, your Sandlot hat.
Yeah,
let me tell you
it's not a Sandlot hat.
He wears the Roback hat. And so the Roback people reached out, and their comfort fit, they have college lines now. So they have officially licensed LSU apparel. By the way, just shout out, if you use code LSU20, they'll give you 20% off. No lie, maybe the most comfortable performance gear shirt that I own. They're phenomenal. So co-sign on Roback. And they're not a paid endorser, but not yet anyway. But they brought in Ed Ogeron as the interim CEO, and they did a 90-second video. If you haven't seen it, check it out on their social media. It's fantastic, but you'll get the point when you listen.
I'm about to go on maternity leave, as you can see, and we need to hire an interim CEO here at Roback. Our first call was my dear friend and national champion, Coach O. Coach O is taking our warehouse to the next level.
How you gonna play football with your eyes down? Quick hands, quick hips, quick feet, just like that. Ah! They're counting on us. They're counting on us. Eyes up, eyes up, eyes up, eyes up.
Needless to say, he's an excellent motivator.
Hey, everybody, employee of the month. Let's give a hand. Yeah, baby. Here we go. We're gonna beat him with our quality. We're gonna beat him with our prices. We're the best damn active brand in the world. You understand that?
He also started a new slogan for the company.
Every time we close, we say, go Roback. Thank you for your support. Go Roback. Go Roback.
Go Roback.
Hey, go Roback.
It is so fun to see him in the trenches with our design and marketing teams.
For this season, we're running purple and more tiger print polos. Go Roback. Go Roback. All of our website photography will look like this. I know know you're the mascot, but I really think our logo ought to be a tiger. What do you think?
And to cap it off, he finishes every day with a press conference.
Our cards have never been better. Our KPIs are through the roof. Best fit, best feel. Go roll back.
We honestly couldn't feel more comfortable leaving the company in such amazing hands.
Help me keep this job. Go to rollback.com. Check out the best activewear on the market. Go rollback.
He said, help me keep this job. Like, I will give him a major, major salute. Like, clearly he's a compensated endorser, and that's totally fine. That's hilarious. So, number one, to be willing to do that, to step out and do that, is really cool. Number two, they nailed it. The whole thing. If you were listening and not watching, a big part of it when he's yelling at the employees and all is like he's got the step, the ladder drills that you do in football. He's saying use your hips. He's knocking boxes over in the showroom. It's or in the warehouse. It's really well done, and you can tell still his love for LSU. I mean, he wants to turn the logo into a tiger. He said we're going to be all more purple skews this year. So even though it ended badly, now look, I got paid $17 million to go away, and he won a national championship at LSU. But you can tell that still that runs through him. And I'll tell you, I don't know if I. Let's just say that the guy in Crimson might have inquired about Ed Ogeron going to work there. And maybe Ed Ogeron had to tell him he wasn't interested in ever going to coach at that place. So, despite how it ended, that man is LSU through and through. That is one thing that is never debatable. And that was really well done. So, salute to Roback and salute to Ed Ogeron. If you go to Roback and get any of their officially licensed LSU stuff, use the code LSU20. They'll give you 20% off over at roback.com. Salute. Job well done. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out our final break of the show. We'll come back, do a little out-of-lock. Stay here, AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet. Dine-in, carry-out, or delivery with 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings. Ice cold draft beer, full-service bar. Sports on TV. What sports? Every sports. All the sports. Sports. If you want to watch the NFL, college football, Major League Baseball, international basketball, soccer, hockey, I don't care. It don't matter what it is. If it's sports on TV, they got it. How much did it suck the other night when the Washington game against Michigan State was on Peacock and you couldn't watch it? Well, you know where you could have watched it? Pluckers, because they got every game. You want to watch the game? They got it at Pluckers. And they got award-winning jumbo chicken wings. Tonight, every Tuesday, two things. Number one, kids eat free. Adults buy an entree, kids eat free. Also Tuesday, Nicholson location, our guy Hunt Palmer hosting sports trivia. So get on by, test your sports knowledge, win Pluckers gift cards. That's every Tuesday, sports trivia at Pluckers, where if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Scooncha fall in the air. Fall is right around the corner, which means fall fishing is, which means it's time for you to take your boat to the next level with front-to-back boat service in a bunch of different ways. You want a custom stair job, you can have a ton of fun out there on the water. They can do that. What about a spot lock trolling motor? So you stay right where you need to in casting lines. Or sonar that's let you see the fish under the water before you cast. All of your maintenance needs as well. For 38 years, They've been at it and will continue to do so. The Sherman family, a front-to-back boat service.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Dylan Cruz here to tell you about Six Rings Baseball and Softball Camp. If you live on the North Shore and play ball, go to Six Rings Camps with former LSU assistant coach Dan Canaveri. His knowledge is second to none, and your child will improve and have fun doing it. Camps were held at Coquille Park and Six Rings Academy in Covington with 4 sessions over the summer. Full day and morning only sessions are available from ages 7 to 13. Go to sixringsbaseball.com or call 985-206-9096. Learn the game to love the game.
At Relief Windows, we're more than windows. We're windows, doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here on a Tuesday edition of AFR. Love our partnership with our friends over at Sunshine. Again, if maybe you're a farmer, maybe look, they have residential mowers, the zero-turn mowers. If you want a Deere, you're going to get it from Sunshine, because from Bunkie and below in our state, Sunshine, 17 locations, that's where you go get all of your John Deere equipment. They're the official tractor of the Saints, the official dealer of equipment dealer of LSU Athletics. But of course, man, for those farmers, those people in agriculture in our state who are just such a heartbeat of our economy, you want to do business with great people, get the best quality product that's going to last, the best resale value on the market, it's John Deere, and that's Sunshine Equipment. Sunequip.com, sunequip.com for Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Okay, one thing left to do. Find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work. Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Ott Father himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
Doing good. How about you, man?
Good, man. A good night. You hit on the Steelers, and you were not a bad beat, but a bad push away with the Panthers getting the late score and the 2-point conversion, so we push on the Saints. But a winning night. Let's keep it rolling, man.
Yep. Let's go to Yankee Stadium for tonight. Toronto in a tight battle for that wild card spot in the American League. Hit a low spot last week when they got swept at home by Texas 4 in a row, but they've rebounded nicely. They swept the Red Sox, and now they go to Yankee Stadium. I like to pitch a matchup with Kikuchi at Schmidt tonight, so laying a minus 102 on the road for Toronto at 605.
Okay.
And that one. Another one, team that just they have been one of the great stories of baseball, man. Their run differential is like 4th overall in the major leagues. They're one of the best scoring teams. Then, as we talked about, they went to Toronto and swept them 4, put them a game and a half in the wild card. As of now, the Texas Rangers are out of the playoffs. They lost 3 in a row at Cleveland. They lost last night against Boston. They got Boston again tonight. Nathan Eovaldi's been great for them this year, but not since he's come off an injury. He's averaging 2-3 innings an outing, and it hasn't been real good. That bullpen is probably the biggest culprit of their late season slide. And you coming back with Boston at a plus price, a very nice plus price. Hate to go against one of my teams that I cashed in a win total over, but I'm going against Texas and taking Boston also in that one.
So you got me betting against the Yankees and betting on Boston tonight. Awesome.
Yeah, hey.
By the way, have I mentioned this baseball season has sucked entirely?
I'll tell you what, it's pretty unpredictable down the stretch, and no doubt about that. So that's it for tonight. Got a lot of baseball. I'll give you a little bit of advice also. I did it we had a lot of discussion on whether, and with a lot of our contributing handicappers also, about what the Ohio State Notre Dame line was going to be. And based on sort of history, and that the last time in 6 years that Ohio State was an underdog in the regular season was actually at home against Michigan. They beat them 62-39. So they were going to be favored over Notre Dame. I'm not so sure they're the better team. I know they don't have the better quarterback. And then Notre Dame is at home. It's at 3.5 right now, Matt. I don't think it's going to go off at 3.5. I think it's going to go to 3. It was over the weekend. It was like 1.5. So I would advise, if you're looking to take Notre Dame, take them at this price right now.
Okay. All right. Big one this weekend, obviously. Going to be a great weekend of college. We're waiting for a great card for a college football weekend. We got it this weekend. Otter, where are you tomorrow?
We are tomorrow at the original Walk-Ons on Burbank, getting ready for the conference opener and all the festivities, celebrating their 20-year anniversary, man. That's awesome, man. Salute to Brandon, of course, Jack, one of the OGs there as well, no longer at Walk-Ons. But, man, it's the OG Walk-Ons. I as Brandon often says, they knew how to sling beers, and that was about it in the early days. But, man, they have absolutely crushed it. So, congrats to Walk-Ons on 20 years, man. That's awesome. All right, Otter, we appreciate you, man. Thank you. All right, man. Be well. It's after further review. We appreciate Jimmy Ott. Of course, we appreciate our friends at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank, and vinyl siding. They do it all. And now Relief Windows does indoor shutters as well. Learn more about how you can make your home even more energy efficient, beautify, increase the resale value with custom indoor shutters from Relief Windows. You buy your windows at Relief Windows. Why not your shutters as well? It's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. All right, it's going to do it for us. Muse, Paulie, I appreciate you, fellas. If you miss anything, AFR On Demand, check it out. Great interviews with Evan Cohen and Sean Salisbury. We'll be back tomorrow for a Hump Day edition of AFR. Have a great night, y'all. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
All right, as we get on down the road, reminder about our friends over at the Williamson Eye Center. It was a great post over at the Williamson Eye Center today. And it reads just very simply, do you have concerns when it comes to corrective eye surgery? Our team of doctors are here from you, so contact or comment below and ask Dr. Blake what's on your mind. I had someone on Morning Scone, my morning vlog every day, say that to me. Say, man, I hear you talk about it, but I'm just so scared when it comes to my eyes. I don't even want to put contacts in my eyes, let alone surgery. I'm here to tell you that for me, one of my biggest objections, maybe my biggest objection, was that I wasn't comfortable putting a laser on my eye. And one meeting with Dr. Blake Williamson changed everything. He is masterful at putting your mind at ease and explaining to you why it's the safest elective procedure in the history of mankind. Don't live another day without perfect vision. Call the Williamson Eye Center.
Bayou Ford is taking $10,000 off MSRP on select new 23 Ford F-150 trucks. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy.